Grand Rising, good people. Grand Rising, how you doing? This is your Coach Renz on a wonderful Thursday, and it's Book Club Thursday. It is Book Club Thursday. I want y'all to know y'all started this book club stuff. Hey, welcome to Book Club Thursday. I'm Coach Renz. I'm sitting here in my cigar lounge in Stone Mountain. We're currently doing all our videos. What is this channel about? For those who are just finding me for the first time, this channel is about two main things. The first thing that it's about helping people to find their own pathway to spirituality, whatever pathway that is. That's why we have Book Club Thursdays, right? We study different books, we go over different books, but it's also about deconstructing from religion. We deconstruct primarily from Christianity. We sometimes talk about other religions, but I'm not as authoritative on those other religions, so that's why we don't talk about them in depth. But we deconstruct from religion this belief of in these deities that nobody can prove ever existed, nor any of their teachings based on true reality, but based on the culture of the people of the day that it was written. And today, being Thursday, is Book Club Thursday. And our audience has chosen the Gospel of Thomas. This is part 5. If you're just now starting out with this one, you can go to my YouTube channel. And on my YouTube channel, under the same name that you see me here, you can find parts 1, 2, 3, 4 on the playlist. You can find the other parts of Gospel of Thomas. We're in part 5 right now. We're going to try to get further along this time than we did. Actually, we did pretty decent last time. We did about 10, 11 verses last time. We're going to try to get through more. We're on 65. There's 114 sayings in Gospel of Thomas. We're on 65. So we're a little over halfway through. Some of the things we've seen in Thomas, I agree with. Some things I don't. Some things give you that reference like, okay, was it written much later after the other Gospels, or was it written at the same time? And was it used as the curriculum, the mythical curriculum that was supposedly used to help complete the other Gospels? Many people don't know that none of the Gospels were complete. Mark was the most complete, and then they still added things to Mark. The other Gospels were incomplete, and there is this mystical book that they talk about called the curriculum that was used with Mark was used to complete the other Gospels. Now, I want y'all to think about that. Just think about that in the validity of your Gospels, of your entire book. If they didn't have all the parts, but they use other parts to fix it, to put it together, how can that be the unadulterated, inerrant Word of God? Think about it like this. I drive a Ford. Yes, I drive a Ford. All the parts of my Ford are not American-made parts, but we'll say that it's an American-made car. But all the parts are not made in America. So is it truly an American-made car? No, it's an American-assembled car because it's assembled in America. But since some of the parts come from other countries, it's not technically an American-made car. You understand what I'm saying? That's how the Bible is. Some of the words may be inspired by men who felt that they were inspired by a deity, but a lot of it is other power brokers putting in it what they want in it. And that's actually the overwhelming majority of it, no matter what time frame you're looking at, because the kings, the queens, the priests, those with money, those were all the ones who put these books together. And since those were the ones who put these books together, certain power dynamics were put in place. And then, based on the culture of the day that it was put together, other power dynamics were put in place. For instance, Most of your Old Testament, most of the Pentateuch was done during the reign of Hezekiah. You can see Hezekiah's influence in it. Later on, you can see Josiah's influence on it. When he says things like, "No, we will no longer worship Baal," it is because the northern tribe of Israel and some of their people have been worshiping Baal and Moloch. So, no longer. When you see them take Asherah away from being Yahweh's wife, Asherah now is a pole to them, no longer his wife. So those kinds of things are during and after the Babylonian captivity. But you see these imprints. You see other mistaken things put in there. You know, they're going to say, like, when you look at it and it talks about in Genesis, somehow Noah knew what was clean and unclean, but yet the Mosaic law for what's clean and unclean didn't come out until Leviticus, until Moses. There are things in Genesis that those laws aren't there until after the Exodus. And that is because they was written in and around the same time, different scribes, different mindsets, different agendas. So, I mean, look at our history. Look at Florida right now and how they're trying to change Black history in Florida. So, to think that people back then, like if DeSantis was back then, and we're not about to get into a whole conversation about DeSantis right now, but if DeSantis was back then, he wouldn't be going to ballots and making speeches and stuff about changing the educational historical rules in Florida. He would just change them. And if you opposed him, they could just kill you. You know, just kill you back then. And I think people don't have that in their mindset when they think about, oh, how could they have changed it? They wouldn't have been able to change it. The law of the land was much more ruthless back then. If whoever was in power said you're guilty of this, you were just guilty. If they came and they would swiftly kill you. So be thankful you living in the time frame that you're living in now, or at least you're conscious in this time frame right now. You might have lived back then, right? Willie mentioned Russia over on we're on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. I remember the first time I went to Russia, right? And I purposely wanted to go and I went and got a Russian history book that was written during the 80s because I wanted to see how it compared to an American history book during the 80s. We made Russia in our history, I'm 51, we made Russia the enemy in the history books in America during the Cold War. When you read the Russian history book, American imperialism was the enemy. So people write different things. Did I watch the Republican debate yesterday? Nope. I didn't even know there was one. Why is there a debate? Isn't the election next year? The primaries already started. I watch African news, man. I plan on being somewhere else. I don't plan on being here. I ain't trying to be funny. I just don't. All right. So we got to get into the Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas is a companion to the Gnostic Gospels. It's not truly Gnostic, not 100% Gnostic, but it does share a lot of Gnostic viewpoints. It was found in a cache of the Nag Hammadi, Egypt, back in the 1940s. The story goes it was snuck out of the Vatican. And that's an interesting little story because it said that the Vatican, when they had it and they was translating it, they gave different priests different parts and they didn't know what they was translating. They didn't know they was the whole of what they was translating, so that nobody could do it all in one shot. So, and then it was snuck out of the Vatican. A good representation of that, because y'all know how I love my movies, was the movie Stigmata. Stigmata was had that was part of the undertone in Stigmata, that they was reading the Gospel of Thomas because these priests had got it out, but then somebody was going through the Stigmata, which is all the punishments of so-called Jesus. Um, but the Gospel of Thomas was really got out. It was a new revelation for a lot of people. It actually was very helpful in my early 20s and my walking away from Christianity, because it kind of made me move into the realm of it allowed me to let go of religion and allow me to just study it, just have a better understanding that coincided more with the hermetic. And I do find a lot of hermetic overtones in this one, but it should be, because it was with the Coptics down in Egypt, and the hermetics were down there as well. So, but without further ado, I think our obligatory, we way past the 5-minute mark. So let us get started in this reading of the Gospel of Thomas. If you've read this before, if you're new and you've read this before, let me know. If you're not new, I already, like some of y'all already know the answer to that before. Grand Rising Mars, Terrence, how y'all doing? Make sure I speak to the people. Matata, you done added some stuff to your name. Kung Ha Matata. See, now you're making it harder for me. And Grand Rising Willie, thank you for the rose, my guy. I'm not doing that stupid stuff people be doing. Look, my lady Angelina, I can't even like give her something now. I can give her a pen. She'd be like, "Oh, thank you for the pen." Right. Or something. She not lost it. That's your last name? Cool. Matata said that's my last name from the Lion King. Akuna Matata. But anyway, I do appreciate all gifts. Thank you for the gifts. Um, Thank you for any donations that you give on Facebook or YouTube as well. And most importantly, let's share. Share it. Gotta share it. Grand Rising Michelle, how you doing? The book is, well, we're reading the Gospel of Thomas. Um, there are multiple oh yeah, let me do say that. There are multiple translations out there. Uh, what I'm reading from is the Gospel of Thomas Scholars Version. Uh, it's a PDF. Gospel of Thomas Scholars Version is a PDF. It's from Stanford University, and it's just purely the translation. You can find other versions of the book where people will give you their understanding of those translations and write a little bit more about it. But I don't read those versions anymore. I just I just go right there. So right now we're just doing this straight up. This is what it says, and you're getting my understanding, but also if we communicate, if somebody has any additional thoughts on any verse, let it be known, because it's not just about my understanding, it's about our collective understanding. And some of it is going to sound familiar. But it's Gospel of Thomas, and this is the Scholars Version from Stanford University. All right. So 65. And this one is going to sound familiar too. He said a person owned a vineyard and rented it. No, actually, this one's, I don't know if this story is in the canonized Bible. A person owned a vineyard and rented it to some farmers so they could work it and could collect its crops from them. He sent his slave so the farmers would give him the vineyard's crops. They grabbed him, beat him, and almost killed him. The slave returned and told his master. His master said, perhaps he didn't know them. He sent another slave. The farmer beat that one as well. Then the master sent his son and said, perhaps they'll show my son some respect. Because the farmer knew that he was the heir to the vineyard, they grabbed him and killed him. Anyone here with 2 ears had better listen. Now, what most scholars, and even when I first read this, I understood how this is supposedly like this Jesus character saying, "Hey, others were sent before me, and they were beaten, they were mishandled, misused. Whether it was John the Baptist, whether it was the prophets or the judges or anybody else, but others had come before me, and they were misused. But the Son is coming, and maybe man will get his act together when the Son of God comes." Um, but they grabbed him and killed him anyway. So they grabbed and killed Jesus anyway. So this thing is an allusion to that. And really, that's all this thing is. There's not much else to it. It's just one of those things that's, hey, Jesus is coming, and they still gonna kill him the same way. That no matter what, man is not going to respect the fact that this is God's creation, the earth, the stars, the moon, the universe, and that we're just farmers here on somebody else's land. 66, Yeshua, because I don't like using the Jesus. Yeshua, show me the stone that the builders rejected. That is the keystone. Well, Yeshua said, show me the stone that the builders rejected. That is the keystone. One of the things that I found interesting about this one is the fact that they try to play Jesus, Yeshua, out to be a carpenter, right? They always call him he's carpenter, he's carpenter. Yeshua didn't become a carpenter until after the anti-Masonic party ran for president and cast a negative light on Masonry. Before this, Yeshua and Joseph were stonemasons. When you go to, so when I went to Nazareth, right next to Nazareth is an ancient Roman stone quarry that dates back, and well, hell, if it was Roman, it's during the time frame of Joseph and Jesus, because Rome came and conquered Judea like in the second century BCE, so like 164 somewhere around in there. So they were stonemasons, and the keystone is like that. It's the first foundational stone that is used in order to build your building, right? And it's usually placed in a specific place, a specific direction, and that sort of thing. And but he's saying, "Show me the stone." But in this one, he says, "Show me the stone that the builders rejected. That is the keystone." So the Romans, the Pharisees, the people that came before, they all who reject Jesus, what he's saying, that they're rejecting the keystone, the foundational stone needed to build this kingdom. So it's just it's the same, but it just I always like it because it identifies even more so that historically those characters, if they had existed, would have been stonemasons and not wood carpenters. They might have known some carpentry work, but they would have been stonemasons. This also is why in the story, if you understood the culture back then, the whole we don't know. Okay, the whole story is, did they go to Egypt or did they go back to Nazareth? One version of the gospel say they went to Egypt, the other version say went to Nazareth. So we have a contradiction in that. If they had went to Egypt, the even though it was all a Roman province, you still had to have their version of a passport to go from Judea to Egypt, right? But there was only a certain group that could travel without having papers, and those were stonemasons. Those were the guys in the different, and not just stonemasons, but those who are in the work in the craft guilds, because all of them there were different craft guilds that was of vital importance. If you was in the craft guilds, you could travel to these different countries without the necessary paperwork that the average person has. If you was a farmer, you just can't just get up and travel. You owned a shop, you just couldn't go and travel. You had to get paperwork. get permission. So that's just one of those things that reminds me of that. All right, 67. Yeshua said, "Those who know all but are lacking in themselves are utterly lacking." Like I said before, this is similar to Gnosticism, but it's also very much an alchemical, hermetic style of writing. As we had discussed in the previous videos concerning the Gospel of Thomas, a lot of it is about knowledge of self. If you don't know who you are, then you are the poverty, and the body is the poverty. So you have to know who you are. And this is another one of those reminding you, those who know all but are lacking in themselves. No matter how much knowledge you are able to acquire, if you don't know who you are, if you don't understand exactly who you are, then you are utterly lacking. You can be a know-it-all, but you will lack what's necessary in order for your greatness to truly shine out. Um, you have to know yourself. Without knowledge of self, all other knowledge is useless. You're just a parrot at that point. We actually talked. Remember, we talked about that. If you was here with me yesterday, and we were just talking about that was part of the conversation. We talked about relationships. If you don't know yourself, then how can you ever be in a good relationship? So 67 is saying relatively the same thing, but in reference to just knowledge base. This is what you have when you have a lot of your apologists. They have knowledge, but they lack knowledge of themselves. They have taken a pledge to that no matter what the information is, they're going to stick with their premise. They are utterly lacking because they know within themselves it's grinding at them. They know their information is contradictory and that the rationale that they give is bullshit. So because of that, they won't acknowledge the inner self. They are lacking. Grand Rising Debbie, how you doing? Debbie from Texas, tried and true. 68. Yeshua said, "Congratulations to you when you are hated and prosecuted, and no place will be found wherever you have been persecuted." Seems like that should say no peace will be found, but it says no place will be found where you have been prosecuted. But it says no place. So a lot of Christians still use the idea that Christians today are persecuted, right? But they're not. They're not. Christians got the run of the field. Pretty much the Abrahamics got the run of the field for the most part. Yes, there are some countries in the world where Abrahamics are not allowed. You can't. You go to if you go to any Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and you're trying to gospel prophesize to people, they will arrest you and kill you. Simple as that. You're not prosecuted because you're Christian. You're prosecuted if you try to convert the Islamic people into Christianity, right? But this is a thing that lets you know that this book is not for all time because you Christians are not hated and prosecuted for being Christian in the majority of the world. So there's plenty of places that can be found. You're not in that. So this was written for that time frame. But think about it. This is, and especially with the Gnostics being murdered and tortured by the Romans, and just the Gnostics. Well, not just the Gnostics, but the Gnostics, the Marcions, anyone who wasn't an Orthodox Christian were persecuted between 381 BC, 381 CE up until in and around the 1200s. You had a good almost 1,000 years of persecution of non-Orthodox Christians by Orthodox Christians. It wasn't persecuted by Islam. It wasn't persecuted by the Ifa, the Hopi Indians, none of them by Christians. And then who did Christians persecute? They persecuted everywhere that the European went and persecuted those who were not Christian. Pope Clement the Fourth, in his one of his decrees, said that it is your duty. Pope Nicholas the Fourth, it's Pope Nicholas the Fifth and Pope Clement the Fourth, both in agreement, different time frame, but both did the same thing. It is your Christian duty to go to Africa and enslave those people who are non-Christian. That was their modality. So this 68 does not live that long. It is not. It is untrue. It is a statement of the culture of that day, whether it was written in around 70 CE or if it was written. But it's theorized to have been written between 70 CE at the latest around 190 CE. In either way, it was only written that it's written for a time frame for those people, but gives that it tries to give that aura of yes, you got to be hated, you got to stay and be persecuted, and you found the way, and it gives people comfort. Like this is a mental game. It's going to give you some comfort in your persecution, your steadfastness, and nowhere you go will you not be persecuted, which was actually still a lie, even for that time frame. Because if a person was of any of these religions and they were living in Kemet and they decided that they wanted to go to sub-Saharan Africa, they would not have been persecuted for being Christian. If they uh, got on a boat and sailed to the Azores, they would not have been persecuted for being a Christian. If they went to China or India, they would not have been persecuted for being a Christian during their time frame. So it's involved very small mindedness, a very small worldview in these types of writings. Grand Rising Michelle Collins, how you doing? G Dub, nah, slavery is one of the reasons why you can't be Christian. That is one of my reasons too. Any book that says that it's okay, that give rules for having a slave, nah, you can't be from a good deity. All right, let's continue because this is how we be going slow on this. This is why we in part 5 and we ain't done. It's all right though. Yeshua said, "Congratulations to those who have been persecuted in their hearts. They are the ones who have truly come to know the Father. Congratulations to those who go hungry, so that the stomach of the one in want may be filled." A little esoteric thought there, you know, the persecution in your heart relating to the fact that you was believing one thing and then you changed because it's, they believe that the soul was in the heart, and it's very difficult to change. As we most of us who are on here, we were born into a religion, whether it was our families was heavy into it, medium, light, our surrounding culture was very Christian or whatever the religion was, and it became a natural thing for you to go into. But then when you grow and you come to understand and you come to realize, then you go through a lot. You go through a lot of emotions when you leave these religions, right? When you're willing to go through that process of deconstructing from everything that you have been taught, from the majority of people who are around you, and you open up your mind, he's just saying congratulations to those people because you were true. Now he did say the Father, which I don't go for no deity with that's making a deity in how we think about life today, gender. It has both masculine and feminine energy, but you truly come to know who you are. And in this instance, he's just saying the Father. And then to be able to walk away from those people. That's how I relate to the part about it with those who go hungry, so the stomach of the one in want may be filled. You have to empty. You have to empty out. Stop consuming their rhetoric. Stop consuming their BS. Stop, you know, uh, going to the church. Stop singing the songs and stop praying. It's hard sometimes. Like even you could be sitting there today. You could have been out of religion for 10 years, but then you go through some stuff. And you're like, my God, or oh God, why is this happening to me? You still might say some stuff like that. You don't believe in this God. You might have converted. Oh, why is this going on in the universe? Instead of just saying, okay, what's the cause and effect? Instead of me getting into all this anguish, if I need to release, my release is different. When I need to release, like I had something this morning, I had to release. It wasn't a oh God, why? Oh, God. It was I get animalistic with it. I let the beast out. I'm telling y'all, there ain't nothing like a good roar, a good growl and roar. So yeah, the brain is masculine and feminine, exactly, Matata. But a good roar, a good one. But sometimes you fall back. You say things because you're used to saying it. Your niece told you that you was evil because you didn't believe in her God. Wouldn't it make her evil since she believes in an evil God? That's what I would say. Well, your God is evil, so wouldn't that make you evil? And then I would have backed up the evil. Who did this? Who genocided? Who killed the earth? How many babies died during the flood? How many babies died in Sodom and Gomorrah? Yeah. Then he sent some bears to kill these children because they called old dude Baldy. That's exactly what he said. Yeah, get him. What my man said, roar, roar like a dungeon dragon. You got time for that. All right, 70 of Gospel Thomas, part 5. Yeshua said, if you bring forth what is within you, this is one of my favorite ones, I gotta tell you. If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. If you do not have that within you, what you do not have within you will kill you. Ooh, preaching to the people. Preaching to the people. This one right here, I'm gonna tell you, 70 has always been one of those top ones for me. It's always been one of those that, especially like I just said, when you're going through something, it's what okay, for show my age, who am I? That part comes out. That part comes out. If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. Remember earlier we talked about, well, if you was on the other parts, Grand Rising, Jeremy, how you doing? Exactly. If you remember some of the other parts, I told y'all one of my favorite ones was when it talked about if the soul came into being because of the body, then no. If the body came into being because of the soul, then that is a marvel. But if the soul came into being because of the body, that's a marvel above marvels. So your your soul, your energy is always been this meets. Remember, it talked about this being the poverty. How something so wonderful comes to dwell in this, and if you don't bring that out, then you become the poverty. If you When you know this, when you know what's inside all this, and you don't bring that out, but to bring that out will save you every time. And when you understand how natural law works, every time there is something, there is cause and effect. There is no such thing as luck, chance, or miracle. Cause and effect is always at work. You may not know what the causation is all the time, but go find out, go figure it out. When you understand and you can be the causational force in your life, you hold a master key. You hold a master key. But if you don't, if you allow life to just take you wherever other people will, then what you don't have in you will kill you. It'll kill you. Oh, your car broke down? All right, bro. Handle that business. Bring that which is within you, Donald, and it will save you. Now, let me stop playing this. Your car broke down, bro. Uh, Grand Rising, Dwayne, how you doing? So, understand that. So, 70 was like one of the ones that really helped me um, fight against people when I was coming up and stepping away from this religion, and I was surrounded by nothing but Christians for the most part. Because we didn't have the internet when I was walking away from Christianity. But if you don't get that, and think about the Gnostics, it's about knowledge, right? Knowledge, and then the understanding of that knowledge, and then converting that into your daily action, which makes wisdom. You can do this on a daily basis on almost every aspect of your life. You know, I wasn't paying attention to a bill, and it snuck up and bit me this morning, and it irritated me because I got some other things that I need to take care of, and that was my fault because I wasn't paying attention. So you understand what I'm saying? You got to pay attention. You got to be on top of your game. You got to bring it out. 71. Yeshua said, I will destroy this house, and no one will be able to build it. Now, the rest of that saying was unread. It was unlegible. They couldn't find, you couldn't read it. So they don't know exactly what was said thereafter. It just says, after I destroyed this house, and I will destroy this house, and no one will be able to build it. Don't exactly know what he's talking about. Is he talking about his body? Is he talking about this world? Is he talking about, a metaphor about the church and how that was destroyed and it was going to rise up in 3 days? The fact that he said no one will be able to build it, um, was he talking about the last temple that was destroyed in 70 AD? That has not been rebuilt. And as long as Islam has that oil, the dome of the rock will stand on that spot. The dome of the rock don't stand on that spot. So maybe he's talking about the temple. Then we know that that temple was destroyed in 70 AD by Titus. And when you look at the annuals of Titus, you see that Titus and Yeshua did a whole bunch of things that were very, very similar. Very similar. Very similar. Almost as if Josephus made Titus into Jesus. It's a theory. 72. A person said to him, tell my brothers to divide my father's possessions with me. He said to the person, Mister, who made me a divider? He turned to his disciples and said to them, I am not a divider, am I? With a question mark. So you got somebody coming up saying, Jesus is supposed to be, he's a priest, he's a rabbi, which means that he had to have a wife, but he's a rabbi. So dude is asking a question. He's supposed to be the good master. Hey, tell my brothers to divide my possession. And he's like, who made me a divider? Who put me over y'all business? And then he asked his disciples, am I not a divider? Am I? But that one is almost to me like he's been a smartass. He said, I'm not a divider, am I? Like, I ain't got time to be dealing with your petty bullshit. That's between y'all. Handle this stuff yourself. Why do you need me to figure out your basic shits? Go figure that out on your own. But it doesn't, like I said, Gospel Thomas does have a little bit of difficulties because you don't have some of the context that you would have if it was telling a huge narrative. Like, where is he? What is this man talking about? What was said after? So you kind of have to look at these things all together, right? The Gospel of Thomas is very much about you can do all this stuff on your own. You don't need all this praying and authorities over you and that sort of thing. So stop looking for the authority when um, the authority is already with you. I'm sorry, that 80s song came into my head. I fight authority always win. I don't know why that popped in my head when I was saying that. Well, because I was saying authority. Jeremy said, I was always a people pleaser, but when I finally lost everything, I realized that it was only me and I was forced to do for me. And I find out, and find who I truly was and what actually made me happy. And that is definitely a way to be, my guy. We talked about that yesterday. I'm right. You can't sit up here. You can't please all these people, and you got to take care of self first and know self first. And Yeshua, even in this one, is hey, I'm not here to handle all your business. Handle some of this stuff on your own. Who made me a divider? Renee said, "How do you unlearn your doctrine when you the doctrine you grew up with?" Well, the first process um, of unlearning the doctrine is to understand and ah, the first process to unlearning this doctrine is to learn the doctrine. Well, let me not say doctrine is not the doctrine, but to learn the book itself. Doctrine teaches you what they think the book is saying or what they want you to follow. But when I studied the whole book and I started seeing all the contradictions, then I accepted the fact that this could not be the inerrant word of this deity. So why am I following it? And then I start studying other things. As you study other philosophies, your mind starts to open up in different ways. That's like an oversimplified way, but um, yeah, plug time. This is why I do coaching sessions to help people to deconstruct from these religions because everybody's going to have a different pathway to doing that. There's no one set way of doing it. I have to know a lot more about you in order to do it, for you to be able to do it. Because I don't know what your background, I don't know what your experiences have been. So your pathway to deconstructing may be different than the next person's pathway. But there are some things that will be similar, and that is to understand how you got to get it in your mind that this book is corrupt, right? Like, let me give you since somebody brought up politics, let me give you an example. Don't get mad at me, okay? I know I'm not going to ask you to type it, but just promise me that you're not going to get mad at me. But back in the day, I've always thought that we needed a business person to be the president of the United States. Back in my second election, I voted for Ross Perot because I wanted Ross Perot to be president. So leading up, I was a book fan of Donald Trump. Then we're not going to get into politics. I was a book fan of Donald Trump. I read all the books. I knew that ghostwriters had written them. He was all over black culture and hanging out with folks. And so I was like, okay, this dude, he could run the country. Yeah. When he first said he was going to run, I was like, yeah, a business person going to run the country. I was down for him. Like I was down with Christianity. But, I had saw him on The Apprentice. I liked him. I liked the personality on The Apprentice and everything. So I'm good. But now he's speaking politics. Now he's saying some stuff. And I'm like, I'm getting to see the fullness of this man. I'm getting to see another side of this man. And the more and more he talked, although I was with him at first, the more and more he talked, the more and more I was like, oh, hell no. So my opinions, my thoughts, my emotions concerning him changed completely the more and more I learned about it. So the more and more you study this book, the more and more you realize, and you have to study it in a connective format. Just like they will put two pieces of scripture together from all over the place, but you have to put it together differently. You look at the four gospels, read all four gospels of the resurrection, and I wrote down and tracked all the differences in them. And when that stuff happened, it doesn't add up. There's a problem here. Where's the problem? I looked at all the miracles and I seen that, oh, wait, the miracles seem to grow as the God. And I looked at the time frame they say the gospels were written. As each gospel is written, more and more miracles are happening that wasn't accounted for in the first ones, in the earlier ones. And then the number of people they feed, yeah, that doesn't add up. Oh, he's supposed to go to Egypt. Oh, but he went to Nazareth. Okay, that doesn't add up. So I started connecting, all these things. If you just read straight through, you may not connect everything. But when you are connecting and noting, that's when you start to say, wait a minute, there are too many contradictions in this book. It's a lot easier to do today. You can just look it up. Somebody probably already has a graph, a scale, some kind of flow chart on that already today. All right, let's go. Let's go. 11:30. And we ain't hardly read nothing. 73. Yeshua said, the crop is huge, but the workers are few. So beg the harvest boss to dispatch workers to the fields. Basically, same sentiment that you had in the Bible, where Debbie says she had the same about Trump. Yep. Same thing in the Bible, in the canonized. The crops, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. So there are there's a lot to get, but there are only so few people trying to get it. So let's get more. We need more people. Let's go recruiting. We got to get these people into the kingdom of God, into our religious beliefs. I need people to agree with me in order for me to be satisfied that I'm right. That's how I always look at those kinds of things. Grand Rising. Did the Piso letters or papers have any influence on the Gospel of Thomas? To my knowledge, it didn't. I have to go back and re-look at that because I haven't looked at that in a while. Y'all know me and Dr. Google. You know, Dr. Google. That's my friend. Let me see here. All right, so I gotta me and Dr. Google. That's my friend. We get down on some stuff. On a quick look, I can't give a closer answer. It's not sparking any memory. Usually, if I see something, it reminds me of the whole thing, but initially, it's not sparking anything concerning the Gospel of Thomas. If we were talking about the other Gospels, like especially the Gospel of Mark, then yeah, there's the idea out there that the Pisos family are one of the families that participated in the writing of the Gospels. Um, but Thomas, I'm not sure. I can't say that on that one. I will never get angry at what you say. That's good. Appreciate that, Jeremy. If I disagree with you, I know we can converse to understand each other. And I know at least we'll go away to agreeing to disagree. And that is exactly how we as adults, not just adults, because I can't say that. We as mature people as uh, should do it. There's no reason to get mad at each other. I don't get mad at people. I just, you know, joke. If the people are rude to me, I'm gonna be rude right back. So I appreciate people like Jeremy. That's why I don't ban people. Like some people say, oh yeah, I should ban all Christians from my page and that sort of thing. Like, nah, if a person is, just we conversing, why should I ban them? So I appreciate that. What's my opinion on the Gospel of Judas? Uh, shit, I ain't read it in a long time, but the Gospel of Judas was interesting because it's basically Judas kind of being Jesus' right hand man. He's the one that he knows more than the rest of them, and he was put on a sacred mission that the rest of them didn't understand, and he had to go do what he had to do. That was part of his duty. I haven't read it in a long time, but I remember that aspect of it. That he's actually the hero in that one. But now you got to understand, I coming from a basis where I don't believe any of these people actually existed. There's like until there's proof that any of them existed, I don't accept that they exist. It's just stories. They Paul Bunyan. All right, 74. He said, Lord, there are many around the drinking trough, but there is nothing in the well. We don't know who this he is. I will have to study those. That have to be another video. I don't want to get deep into the Pizos letters right now because this is book club Thursday, so we're going over Gospel Thomas. I have to try to keep it on subject matter for the time frame that we're doing it. On another day, we can go into that. Um, we can go into the Pizos letters. But on the Tuesdays and Thursdays, we try to stick to the primary subject matter. Other days, we go all over. We'll start on one thing and then go all over the place. Uh, so he's saying there are many people around the drinking trough, but there's nothing in the well. And there's people who they want some water and they looking for it, but there's nothing in there. Some people take this differently. The way that I take this one is that there are many people who are in religion and they ain't nothing there. They all trying to thinking that they're supping up some water, and they're doing what. So when my kids were little, and they were like, "Dad, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry," I would tell them, and I still say it to them today, and they actually say it to other people: eat air and drink spit. Right? I know. For all you mothers out there, do not get mad. No, you're not disrupting Norman. If we get to a certain point of stopping on this, then sometimes we go into other subject matters. But on Tuesday and Thursday, we kind of stick to it. Some of y'all, this is all the fathers out there understand how we say stupid stuff to our kids. But yes, I would tell them all the time, eat and drink spit. Right? Then I go feed them. So this one he's saying that, hey, there's a bunch of people around the drinking trough, but there's nothing in the well. There's a bunch of people in Christianity. There's a bunch of people in Islam. There's a bunch of people in Hinduism. There's a bunch of people in Judaism. There's a bunch of people in all these religions. But they ain't drinking nothing because there's nothing there. There is absolutely nothing there. Although there are some good things written in Christianity, I can find almost every last one of those things previously written by some other philosophy. So, in truth, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Don't murder. Code of Hammurabi, 42 Confessions of Maya. I can find that very easily. Go within yourself. I can find that in Buddhism. I can find that in the hermetics. I can find that in alchemy. There is pretty much nothing of goodness, of good use that I can't find in some other philosophy that came before. It could even just in philosophy. I can go to Stoicism and find it. Um, what was your professor from Yale name that you spoke of? Go look it up because I went and looked it up. So Google religious studies Yale professor, religious study Yale. Go look it up, Donald. Now I went out there. Y'all know this is me, and I should be mindful because Donald will show up over here at the cigar lounge on. Y'all know if I go through the trouble one time to find you something, don't come back here asking me again. When you can use Dr. Google just as well as I could. I gave you a description. I told you what it was. I went and found it. Yeah, so you go Google it up yourself, Donald. I'm gonna talk shit to Donald. Or care, Coach Renz. Where are their bloodlines, or did their families vanish off into the earth, get into the grave? Well, there are no bloodlines for these people because these people didn't exist. If we're talking about the Jesus and the apostles and all of them. Oh, you are talking about the apostles and their family trees. Yeah, they have no bloodline because they didn't exist. Now I'm doing research on it. There's a theory out there that the Dark Ages, that the whole Charlemagne and all that, those kingdoms never existed, and that it was all made up. But Charlemagne claimed to be, and the Merovingians claimed to be the bloodline of Jesus and Mary Magdalene having a baby, and they are the bloodline of Jesus. I do like the Da Vinci Code though; it was a good movie. But no, these people didn't exist, so there's no bloodline. Your mother used to say, "Eat shit and and bark the moon." It's funny you told your kids stuff. Really had coincidences. Hey man, that's thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. Look, my kids will still, if we're outside and it start raining, they'll still look up like, up the birds are spitting. Other people be around like, the hell these kids talking about? And my kids are like 27 and 24 and 23, 22. I used to, when I wanted them to get out of the rain, I tell them that that's 10,000s of birds up there spitting on them because they like playing in the rain when they were little. So daddy's got a daddy. Where was I at? All right, 75. Yeshua said, there are many standing at the door, but those who are alone will enter the bridal suite. Can't do it with nobody else. Your pathway is your own pathway. And everybody's trying to get in, but you got a journey on your own. Nobody can do this for you. Oh, perfect example. Just like with Donald. I'm not gonna give you, I can't, be there providing a hand with spoon, not calling you a baby, but I'm gonna call you a baby right there because I can pick on you like that. And I know you ain't gonna take it personally and get all in your feelings. But I can't spoon feed him. Damn it. I showed you the person last week. You can't use Google. It's just like, I don't mean to be rude. Let me tell you something that irritated me this morning. Somebody obviously went to my website for the cigar lounge. So that means they know the name of the cigar lounge. They know we're in Stone Mountain. The address is on the website. Why they send me a message saying, what's your address? Where are you located? The hours are on the website. If you Google the cigar lounge, it tells you where it's located and the hours. Why are you sending me a message? Of course, good customer service. I went ahead and sent them a message back, told them what the address was. But goddamn, like seriously, am I wrong? Am I wrong? Yeah, Jeremy, I got a whole bunch of them. Am I wrong though? Thank you, Donald. Like, you on the website, you went to the contact us. The contact us, that means you've been all over the website. The address is right there. The hours is right there. And even if it ain't, shit, Google. Oh, this is look, this is why I call these motherfuckers humans. And I hope that person comes in and be like, yeah, I sent you that message. I'm like, I'm gonna ask them, why didn't you just Google it, dude? And the cigar, that's the beauty of a cigar lounge. You can be somewhat an asshole to customers because it's expected. Yep, people want easy. People want to be spoon fed. But that's the thing. You can't. And that's what I get out of 75 is that it's your journey. You gotta make this journey yourself. Right? Uh, my man was, I think, Renee, you know, what I was saying about it's, I guide people in their own personal journey. There's no one way to get there of deconstruction. There may be some things that are similar, but we still all have our own individual journey. At some point, you walking by yourself. Yeah, I Google everything too. Yeah, these people are babies. So we all have to make our own journey. All right, here goes a good one, a long one, 76. Yeshua said, the Father's imperial rule is like a merchant who has a supply of merchandise and then found a pearl. The merchant was prudent. He sold the merchandise and bought the single pearl for himself. So also with you, seek his treasure that is unfailing, that is enduring, where no moth comes to eat or no worm destroys. And y'all know that is very similar to something that you already seen in the other gospels, where it talks about storing up your treasures, you know, heaven, and all the other animals are gonna eat up, you know, the moths and stuff gonna eat up your stuff. But no matter how much merchandise you have, like the pearl is gonna last. You know, the moth ain't gonna eat those up. That is your knowledge, knowledge of who you are. You know, being running around the church, dancing in the church, praising and hallelujahs and all that stuff, being a show. That stuff goes away. That stuff is meaningless. Oh God, let me show you. I know God. I know God is real because look at this house that I got. Look at this car that I got. That's not real. The only thing that's real is you. You real. You are real. Nobody knows what happened next until you go. So you best get it to where you are in control. It's one fly in here. And he act like it ain't nowhere else to go in here, but right here. But shit, let me lose my train of thought. As you grow into your understanding, as you grow into your knowledge base, as you get to identify self, that is the one thing that's going to take you and journey you, you know, so that you don't have to come back here. Most of us on here accept that reincarnation is very, very, very plausible, and that we've been here before. And if you don't figure this out, you're coming back again. May not be immediate, but you're coming back. So if you don't get your shit together and understand truly who you are, you come. Y'all see that fly on my little stand right here? Oh, that's that little bastard. Yeah, I'm blowing smoke on him because I want him to leave me alone. Slow him down so I can get him. Yes, you have to go through the tough things. Shit, he's still fast. Yeah, you have to go through the tough thing yourself. And if you don't, you won't figure anything out. And nobody, people can help you on your pathway to find out who you are, but you got to do the work. And you do, but you should have the mindset that Jeremy is talking about, because nobody is going to help you. Like, think about it in those terms. I always think about it like that. Nobody's going to help me, so I got to figure this out on my own. If I do get help, then that just makes it easier, and that's great. But at the end of the day, if nobody helps me, this is up to me. That's one of the stoic. If you ever read the Emperor's Guidebook, and it's the Stoic sayings of Marcus Aurelius, is much like the Gospel of Thomas is written. It's just a bunch of sayings. But in everything Marcus Aurelius wrote, it's up to me. Everything is up to you. Everything. And Angelina thinks she's funny. Talking about that fly. Angie said that fly, he's a fly for Jesus, disrupting you from talking. Oh, y'all see what I got to deal with. Y'all see the personality that I have to deal with. Oh, crazy. So to continue, where was I at? Continue. 77. Don't laugh at her, Debbie. You're just going to encourage her foolishness. Jesus said, Yeshua said, I am the light that is over all things. I am all. From me, all came forth, and to me, all attained. Split a piece of wood, I am there. Lift up the stone, and you will find me there. If you watch that movie Stigmata, this verse is like the big verse in Stigmata. The split a piece of wood and I am there. Lift up the stone and you will find me. Now he is saying, I am the light that is over all things. I am all. From me, all things came forth, and to me, all attain. Now, this would be Jesus equating himself with the all. But in so many other passages, he equates, we are all part of the all. So we are no different. Even in your Bible says, the Bible says that we are all the children and that we all come into unity. But yes, you, thank you for getting there before me, Iglesias Felipe. But Iglesias says, you are God. Well, Felipe, I like using Felipe because one of my Marines is Felipe. You are God. Because I was about to get to that part. Is it not written that ye are gods? So all things came forth. You are the light over all things. And all things come from you, by you, of you. You exist in your own universe. Our universes coincide sometimes, like, and sometimes they don't. Right now, we are all sharing a universe right now. In about an hour and a half or so, y'all gonna go off into your own universe, and I'll be off over here in my own universe, and they will not be intersecting until I make these videos today, and then y'all will be intersecting again. But you are your all. You are the all. And remember, if you was with us for the, what was it? When we was doing the Kabbalion, if you go to the YouTube channel, you can look at the playlist, the Kabbalion. When we was talking about the all in all, in the law of mentalism, the divine paradox. The all is in all, but all are not the all. And I'm going to let y'all think about that one because you should remember it. So to continue, 78, Yeshua said, you have come out to the countryside to see a reed shaken by the wind and to see a person dressed in soft clothes, like your rulers and your powerful ones. They are dressed in soft clothes and they cannot understand truth. Just because it look good don't mean it is good. Yep, the internet and streaming does make it easier for us to see that we are all in the all. So just because it's dressed up nice, just because it looks good, just because it sounds good, doesn't mean that it is good, right? Just because somebody stands on a pulpit and they're saying what they're saying, they could just be repeating rhetoric that they've heard over and over again. They're just going, they're saying the party line. Somebody mentioned the debates. Debates are only entertaining to me if somebody get into a fight because they're just saying prepared lines, party lines. They ain't saying nothing real. They're making you a whole bunch of empty promises. So when you go out, just like you go out to the countryside, you want to look at the leaves and the stuff in the field, and it's all beautiful and everything. When you see these people and they're looking all beautiful and all this kind of stuff, but the difference between nature and people is that a tree is a tree. We understand the tree to the extent that we can understand it, but there are levels of that tree that we cannot understand. That's different. These people, they look good, they sound good, and we will listen to them and think that, oh, they're all truth. And in truth, and the real thing is that they don't understand truth. This is why I tell y'all, don't just take what I say. I sound good. Most of the time, I look good. But, but if I say something, go research that shit. I can be wrong. Matter of fact, if I went back and looked at some of my videos from 8 years ago, 10 years ago, I'm pretty sure that I have changed, added to, or even possibly reverse course on some of the things I said back then. Especially when you find out new information and things like that, or you think deeper through some things. I'm pretty sure that I have reversed courses on something that I said back in the day, 10 years ago. So go research it. The difference between me and most of them pastors and things like that is I'm not afraid to demonstrate that I could be wrong or that I need to add something to something or I misinterpreted something, you know. No problems with that whatsoever. You call them Pastor Lovejoys, they're only in love with themselves. Yeah. I can never trust a person who thinks that they're right about everything all the time. And I always wonder how they come up with their sermons or even their topics. A lot of them are just repeating sermons that others have taught them or they've seen others or repeating sermons. I would literally watch pastors. If you're with a pastor for 5 years, you can recognize that they probably got about 70 sermons that they rotate through. About 70 sermons that they rotate through. Some of them are going to be rotated. And if you push them out, distance them out far enough, you ain't got to worry about it. You ain't got to worry about anybody remembering. The only time they repeat the same shit on Christmas, they repeat the same shit during Easter, they repeat the same shit during New Year's, which is always amazing to me because that's not truly the new year, but it's the same thing. 79. A woman in the crowd said to him, "Lucky are the womb that bore you and the breasts that fed you." And he said to her, "Lucky are those who have heard the word of the Father and have truly kept it. For there will be days when you will say, 'Lucky are the wombs that have not conceived and the breasts that have not given milk.'" This woman came to get his man a compliment. He can't take no compliment. It's easy Waffle House Jesus. It is. Talking about them sermons. But it's kind of wrong right here. I just see this as assholery. This woman just saying, "Oh, blessed is your mom. Your mama is so blessed to have a son like you." Now, the blessed people is here who hear the word of the Father and keep it, because there's gonna be a time frame where you're gonna be thankful that you didn't have a child because they're gonna be killing your children or your children gonna be acting like this or that or acting crazy and stupid. And you've seen that. You got people today. You've always had people say, "I don't want to have a child because I don't want to bring a child into this world. This world is crazy. This world is going off. It's losing its shit." And so they don't want to bring a child into this world. You know. So to them, lucky is the woman that does not have a baby and produces milk, who didn't bring a child into this world. This world is jacked up. And when people are in a suffering state, then those people who don't have babies, they will deem them like it's good that you don't have to watch your children die or suffer or anything like that. But we know shit. You can be in the worst case situation and people still gonna have babies because people still gonna be getting it. But he didn't have to be such an ass to this lady. But I get what he's saying as far as lucky as those who hear the word of the Father and have truly kept it. How many of these people have actually kept the doctrine that they believe in? Let's be real. Even this Jesus know that that's zero. If this Jesus was God, he would know that it was zero. Zero people keep exactly what this book tells them that they're supposed to do. And just like when we was going through Leviticus on Tuesdays, we're doing what's wrong with the Bible, and we did Leviticus 14 and 15. People ain't keeping that stuff. The Hebrew Israelites, these Jewish people, they woman is on her cycle. They sitting on the same sofa, same bed. They riding in the same car when she on her cycle. They doing all of that. They ain't changed up nothing. Somebody has a skin disease. They not separating them into a leprosy colony. They ain't got no leprosy colonies here in America. And it's not just leprosy, it's other skin defiling diseases. They might go to the hospital, but then they go visit them in the hospital. Only the priest is supposed to go visit this person, but they go visit them anyway. Nobody keeping to this. Y'all, they wearing mixed linen. They ain't keeping to these rules. No, it's too many of them. Like 300 and something commandment. No, it's like 700 commandments or rules, whether it's ceremonial or moral or religious rules in this book, and they're not keeping. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Coco playing. Sorry, Coco played today. Gotta watch Coco. Uh, yeah, but and as far as those days, you think about when these things are written. They're written at a time frame where the Romans are. They're not persecuting Christians or Jewish people because they just are singling these people out. There were Christians in the militaries. There were Christians who were Roman citizens. The reason why they didn't like them is because there was a rule. Put a statue of Caesar in your temple and pay homage to it once a year. Christians and Jews didn't do that. It was against their religion. That was their only problem with them. And the fact that they wanted to have a worship day they wanted a day off from work every day. I mean, not every day, but once a week. They wanted to do the Sabbath, right? Um, oh, I haven't been paying attention. I guess he's still here somewhere. That fly, but they wanted to have a. They thought that the Christians and Jews were lazy because they had this Sabbath where they didn't do any work. The Romans had their worship days, like Sunday was a worship day, worshiping Apollo or Mithra or Dionysus, but they still went to work that day. Okay, you go worship, go to temple, then take your ass to work. And they thought the Hebrew people were lazy. And it caused all kind of problems, even if you was a slave, you had certain rights, but it caused problems even with the slaves who was practicing this religion. So that's why the persecution was more about that. It wasn't about um, because they believe in this book. It was their actions of not having a statue of Caesar and wanting to have a day off every week. So, continuing on, saying number 80. Yeshua said, whoever has come to know the world has discovered the body. And y'all already know what he thinks about the body. And whoever has discovered the body, of that one, the world is not worthy. Right? So this is how, when you're reading this Gospel of Thomas, you gotta read it and get a lot of it in your mind. Whoever has come to know the world has discovered the body. The body is a carcass. The body is dead. Uh, we merely dwell within the body. The body didn't form us. And whoever has discovered the body, that one, of that one, the world is not worthy. So while the world is praising the body, giving homage to the body, not recognizing that the body is poverty, and not poverty financial, but I mean, it's relatable to poverty financial, but that's not his lens out. It's more of a metaphor. Recognizing that it is your spirit, soul, ka, whatever you want to call it, your consciousness. I just call it your consciousness. It is your consciousness that is the value. When you recognize that you are of value, but you're just temporarily here on the carcass of the world, you're not worthy of this world. You're just not. Because the other people are not going to understand it. You will think differently than they think. You will live differently than they live. And it's not I'm gonna go get some dreads and I'm gonna have some sound bowls all around me and I walk around with these certain type of clothing. You're still just dressing a freaking part when you do that. Now there are some people that makes them feel closer and they're legit in it, but the majority of them jokers I see doing that, y'all just playing a role too, right? I'm gonna dress however the hell I want to dress when I want to dress. It ain't got nothing to do with spirituality. This hat, these shirts. I am wearing jeans, which I'd rather wear slacks, but None of that, all that stuff. But here's what's funny. If I put on a monk's robe and I shave my head bald and I be sitting around with my bowls and I'm saying the same things that I'm saying, but I say it in a more softer tone and express these things of wisdom, more people will be like, oh, he's a guru. He's a very spiritual man. Ain't shit ain't got nothing to do with it. I'd be the cussing guru. Man, you on some dumb shit right now. You sitting up here allowing the will of everybody else around you to control you instead of understanding and developing your will, letting your working on your the me that you are becoming. You know, if I get off your ass, stop whining. It's up to you. Repeat the same stuff every 2 months. uh, yep, they repeat the same stuff every 2 months. A lot of them do that too. Papa Soul, Grand Rising. But yeah, it's you're not worthy of this world. You're really not, and you shouldn't come back to it. But you have to discover what this world and who you are in order for you not to come back. If you haven't discovered that, you are coming back. You're coming back. 81, Yeshua said, the one who has become wealthy should reign, and the one who has power should renounce it. Mm-hmm. Ain't got nothing to do with money. This is somewhat, you can find this in the Tao Te Ching, a similar thought process. And basically in the Tao Te Ching, it talks about the one who has become wise, the one the wise governor should reign. The one who is working for the benefit of the people so that government is not needed is the one who should reign. And the one who has power should renounce it. The one who has just taken power, controlling people, got it through birthright, they should renounce it to the one who is wise, who has come to understanding. That's who should reign. Yep, we do get caught up in what things look like instead of what they are. Yeah. Did you know that there are people who have said that they cannot follow my channel, watch these videos, even though they want the information because I smoke cigars, because they don't want to support they don't want to support tobacco. And I was like, I just said okay. But in my mind, I'm thinking, on the scales, this knowledge and wisdom versus tobacco. Are you freaking serious? I didn't really get into it with the person. I started asking, do you eat meat? Y'all know that's my go-to right there. Because if a person tell me they eat meat, the amount of meat consumption is far worse than this. And we don't inhale cigars. But the point is, I don't give a damn if there was a person who was on the Atkins diet and ate only meat. If they got good info that's going to be beneficial to me, I don't care. What other things you choose to do it. I'm going to take what I need and keep it moving. But people aren't built that way. People just aren't built to say, oh, well, they're lost. You got to fit into their perfect. In order for you to be some kind of spiritual leader, you have to fit, or even political or anything else, but you have to fit into their perfect little paradigm. And that's just not going to happen with me. And you would be unwise if that's how you viewed everybody. If you viewed everybody that I can't listen to you unless you fit into my perfect paradigm, you're going to lose out on opportunities to grow more than anybody else. Grow further than where you should have grown. And for the people like, well, when the teachers, when I'm ready, the right teacher will appear. Well, they already appeared. I was already right there. It was already right there in front of you. But you too blind in your own little how it has to be in order for you to get it. Let me mess with y'all. It's kind of like it's kind of like relationships, right? Y'all got this perfect little situation. She got that perfect body. She got that perfect look. She got that perfect poom poom. She dressed like this. She talked like that. She walked like this. I'm waiting on that one. She 100. But that 80 right there is your real 100. Because that what you think is 100 is also bringing you things that you ain't gonna like. That's gonna irritate you. She might have some of them little deal breakers because she looks so good to your eyes. Oh, that's the perfect one. But that 80 over there, that was the one. That 80 was bringing you your 100. So that what looks like 100 is bringing you about 30. Same thing with women. 6 figures, 6 feet, 6 pack. Arrogant, narcissistic, controlling, cheating, flirting. Yeah, he looked like your 100. He got the financial trappings of your 100. That motherfucker about a 30. Yeah, 30. When that dude over there, he don't make 6. He make about 60. He got a little dad bod going on. Might even have a little receding hairline. Now you gotta like, you gotta look at a person and be like, okay, you gotta be attracted to it. I ain't taking away from it. I ain't saying you go get with Ugmo, but I'm just saying sometimes the neat little package that you think you want ain't the package that's best for you. That's all I'm saying. Just like being called evil when you do exactly. Yeah, people gonna call you the name. Papa, so I smoke cigars about 2-3 times a week and met a process and times a week. And meat and processed foods are way more damaging. Yeah, it sure is. 2-3 times a week you smoking cigars? You're rookie. You're a rookie, Papa. Yo, them, yeah. You're a rookie. Two, three, 2-3 times a week. I'm 2-3 times before most days. I'm 2-3 times before people get off work. Oh, almost one after every meal. Well, pretty much is one after every meal. But yeah, so let's continue. Let's continue. Let's continue. Where was I? Where was I? Where was I? That's 80. That was 81. Okay, 82. Yeshua said, whoever is near me is near the fire, and whoever is far from me is far from the Father's domain. Now they inserted Father in there. Some of these things that I read are inserts as well, what they think it was saying. Um, like it really just said, whoever is near me is near the Father. Whoever is far from me is far from the domain, right? But they inserted Father's domain. Right? So you got to always recognize that when you're reading one of these, that's what is going on right there. So you look professional with it. That's what's up. So basically, hey, if and most of them think being near Jesus personally is a thing of being near the fire. The fire consumes, but out of the fire comes a rebirth. And whoever is far from him, you're out in the cold, so you're far away from from the domain. But what I take for this is near the consciousness, like getting your consciousness raised up to if Jesus was a character that for a minute, for a while, I looked at Jesus as one of not kind of like the Gnostics, kind of like Arius did. Um, that he was a person who had divine knowledge and lived the divine way, who had secret knowledge, who understood the mechanism of the universe, was a master alchemist. So, but not God, right? Not God, a different created being. Like all of us are different created beings. So I accepted like a historical Jesus for a while. So he was in the same category that I would put Siddhartha Gautama, which is the Buddha, the actual Buddha. There are many Buddhas that come later, and you yourself can become a Buddha. Uh, and it just means an enlightened one. So I put them in those categories, and that's how I had categorized all of them. Muhammad, all of them, these people, and there was many more people as well. Lao Tzu, put them in this category. Just highly enlightened master alchemists. Being near him is being near the fire of having that high level of consciousness. And when you're in the fire, that's how alchemy works. You put it into the fire, and you bring it out, and you separate and purify it. Put it back in the fire, separate, purify it, back in the fire, separate, purify it. And each time it becomes more pure, more pure, more pure. So being near him, his consciousness, near his level of consciousness, is being in the fire. And that is how I viewed that when I first read it, and I would still view it that same way. Um, but except for that father's domain part, it's just the domain, it's just the kingdom, it's just the higher levels of consciousness. It's leaving this matter plane of existence and going into the higher steps of spiritual consciousness, getting completely out of the matter plane of existence. Because understand, when we are looking at it from the alchemical hermetic viewpoint, this is matter. There are higher planes of still matter. Like when people talk about, oh, you just become pure energy. Okay, you're pure energy. You're a higher form in a higher matter domain or dimension. Like the fifth dimension still is matter based. So there are more degrees of matter. Just like even on Earth, we have different degrees of matter. We have the atomic level, we have the molecular level, and I'm sure there's something else. There's more and there's more and there's more levels even within matter. So when people say, well, I'm gonna come back, I'm just gonna be an energetic being, that's possible. Okay, you did rise up, but you just rose, you're still in the matter plane of existence. But you want to keep going till you get to that spiritual plane of existence. The hell? Oh, sorry, dude. Threw me off. The bug man is walking around the building. You just spray some. You just sprayed it. Did it go under my door? No. Okay. All right. Oh, it's after 12. I don't like to go in the first person. Is that one of my people's? No, it's not. All right. 83. We got to at least get to 85. We will. Yeshua said, images are visible to people. Hey, man, before I read that, I see some people. Yes, I think that people who are in the materialistic life and only see themselves and the world are just material, they'll be doomed to reincarnate. Yeah, you're going to reincarnate. If you don't get this, if you don't get into that mindset of beyond this, I like using the chakra system because it's so easy. It easily explains it. It makes sense to me. Your crown chakra is only open when you can release all earthly attachments. And people, when you first think about earthly attachments, one of the first things you think about is, material things. But family is an earthly attachment. Husband, wives, children, earthly attachments. Your own personal body is an earthly attachment. Can you release that? Can you release that? And it's not to mean that you don't care about people. You still love them. Because your heart chakra can't be open if you can't love people. But do you hold on to them so much so that you can't release them in order for you to rise to a higher consciousness, in order for you to truly know yourself? Like, I love my family, right? But if their will is imposed upon me and causes me to not be able to ascend to my highest level of consciousness, yeah, I can love them from afar. I love Angelina, but if her will, wait a minute, she on this one. But if her will imposes on my, she got to go. But if I was hindering her growth, I would remove myself, which is even harder if you think about it. You got a person that wants to be with you. You do want to be with them, but if you see that and you are hindering their ability to grow, can you walk away even though you know it's going to hurt them? You know they're going to disagree, but can you walk away for the betterment of that person's growth? One of the hardest things to do. One of the hardest things to do, especially if you really care about the person. Now I've done it to people that I didn't really care about that too tough. I care about them on the base level, and that was easy. But to do it to some people that you really care about, that's a whole nother thing. You say, even being attached to your family can keep you coming back. Yep. This is conflicting when your partner is deeply religious. It is, and is that cry fry? It is. A reversal. I used to say that two people of two different religions can coexist. Is it possible? Yes. Very low, 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 low possibility. There's very, very, very low possibility that that's going to work. Very, very, very low. Um, very low. There are the ones who could make it work, but for the most part, there are those who just not going to be able to make that work. And it's only a slight few people who can, but most people just not going to let it work. It's just not. Sorry. It's hard. It takes two special individuals who can look beyond the religion and see that their togetherness is more beneficial. That two people can come into an understanding that you came into this world by yourself, you're going out this world by yourself. But then with their children involved, that makes it even more difficult. So which direction do the children go? Your friend is semi-religious. She doesn't attend church, but she prays over food. So you just let her do her thing. And if you can let her do her thing, that's great. Have some kids. See what happens. You say it's hard to hear me when I'm live. There's a few people who say that, and then other people, and this is for the Facebook people. I need my Facebook people. Let's experiment on Facebook. If you can hear me perfectly fine, let me know. If it's difficult, let me know, because I'm not sure if it's the what I'm using or if it's on the other side. Because I get both of them. It's the hardest thing to go through. Yeah, it's the hardest thing. It's very difficult to go through that when you've made it with somebody and y'all have different religions or different perspectives on spirituality, I should say. So Jeremy's all good. So Papa Soul stayed with his sister last night. She woke him up at 2:30 in the morning, praying and speaking in tongues. Whew. Both of y'all done with kids? Okay, that'll make it easier. Mm-mm. I got one for you there on that, Papa. So my daughter Simone was it was her birthday. I think it was her birthday. Yeah, it was her birthday. And she wanted to go to this little Korean restaurant, and she didn't want to do 2 celebrations and all that. So and it's not a problem. So she wanted both me and her mom. She wanted to do both sides of the family at the same time. But it wound up just being me, her mother, and the other 2, her brother and sister. Right. So we sitting at the table, we just having conversation, just talking. And all the food came. And so their mother was like, she looked around, she said, well, I guess I just pray over my food since I'm sitting at a table full of heathens. And of course, it was a joke. We all just laughed, right? Because you have to, the way she said it, you knew she was just just cracking a joke. And, she prayed over a little food, and we all just, and while she was praying, though, my son was like, look at her over there praying over her food like it's going to make a difference. And, it was just jokes. It's just all jokes. It's cool if you can be, if y'all can have that kind of mentality towards it, it's cool. We respect her for doing what she's doing. She respects the fact that all 3 of them had the opportunity to learn about all religions so that they made their own choices. But, the bond of family is stronger than the force of Christianity or any other isms, And if you can have that, then you can work with somebody. Y'all can be together. Actually, shit, that's a podcast. Can people of different religions coexist? That might be tomorrow's subject. How it can work, but most likely how it's not gonna work. Let's see, 84. No. 83. Yeshua said, images are visible to people, but the light within them is hidden in the image of the Father's light. He will be disclosed, but his image is hidden by his light. So you can see people, images of people, but the light within from them is hidden in the image of the Father. Going back to the hermetic philosophy of the divine paradox, the all is in all, but all are not the all. So we are all, that inner light is all within all of us. He will be disclosed. You'll see it. You can tell a person. You can see a person who truly got inner goodness in them, inner love in them. You can see it in their actions, how they live. You can see that they got the balance of their masculine and feminine energy, their understanding of protection and violence, protection and aggression. There's a difference between those 2. But his image is hidden by his light, but you ain't gonna see his face. There is no face of God. There is no image. There's no matter version of God, right? If you believe that there is a intelligent being that created everything, he wasn't walking with Abraham. He didn't wrestle with Jacob. It's not the face of Yeshua. There is no face. There is no walking in the garden in the cool of the day. It's not anthropomorphized at all. These are metaphoric stories trying to tell you a story, but it's not a being. It's not like Prometheus. Y'all had me watch that movie where they went to the planet and met their creator, and it was a humanoid looking big albino joker, the giants. It wasn't that. It's not that. There's no one image. There's not a big ass mind. It's not ego to the planet, living planet. It just is. It just is. Undescribable and undefinable. Okay, maybe that's what we'll talk about tomorrow. Remind me, Angelina, please, because I'm gonna forget. It's just it's unknowable and undefinable. So there is no way to say this is God, that's the Father, that's heaven, that's hell. Shit, if you can't, these people can't even define heaven. So how in the hell are they gonna define the creator of heaven? You can't define hell. How you gonna define the creator of hell? And who created hell? Ugh. Oh, that's an interesting one. God created everything, so He created hell. Mm. Oh. Okay, 84, 84, 84. Yeshua said, when you see your likeness, you are happy. But when you see your image that came into being before you, and that neither dies nor becomes visible, how much will you have to bear? So when you see your light, when you look in the mirror, you're happy. When you see or you see some people who are like you, your other people that are like you are happy. You see your kids, you're happy. But when you see your image, that came from into being before you, that neither die nor become visible, your spirit, your consciousness, right? How much will you have to bear? Can you handle that? Like a lot of us think that we're ready to handle the the upper room. Hell is for all us sinners. But we think that we're ready for that. We fancifully imagine what the next level would be like. We're not, you have no fucking clue. We have no idea, no clue whatsoever. How much of it are you going to have to take? How much of it, it's a whole new level of consciousness, a whole new level of understanding. You're going to be walking into it like a baby. So how much of it will you have to bear? The knowledge of it, the understanding of it. And you got to get that, and even on this plane of existence, for those of us who's deconstructed from religion, as an example, as you deconstructed, how much weight did you bear in your deconstruction? Because even some of the things we think we know now, we're going to have to deconstruct from that. Like some of the things that I talk about, some of the alchemical things I talk about, the hermetic things there are going to be levels of that have to be deconstructed at the next plane of existence. Because I thought I knew this, I thought I knew that. But now to be in another plane and the clarity and the realization to come out of that realization into an even higher realization. It's the same way that we do it through deconstructing. How much did you have to bear in your deconstruction? How much weight did you carry having to release the habits, the thought processes, the way you manage life, the way you figure things should go when you deconstruct it, the anger that you felt, the mistrust, the breaking of trust that you felt. Like I trusted you from birth to teach me correctly, and you gave me this garbage, and now how do you bear that emotion? It happens again. Next plane. It happens again. Because some of the things that we think now at that plane of existence with the ability and access to higher consciousness, you're going to have to deconstruct from some of this. It will be great to already know to be able to figure those things out here, but you're not going to figure out all of it. We're trying to figure out as much of it as we possibly can, but you're not going to get it all. You're not. 85. I was determined to at least make it to 85 today. Right, always learning. And a true person is always learning. What's the saying goes? The more I know, the more I realize how much I don't know. You have to keep learning. 85. Interesting one. Adam came from great power and great wealth, but he was not worthy of you. For had he been worthy, he would not have tasted death. Let me let that sink in for a second. Adam came from great power and great wealth. Adam, Garden of Eden, you know, perfect man, perfect situation. And you have to think about it from their perspective of what they believed at this time frame. You know, he had it all, but he was not worthy of you. He was not worthy because why was he not worthy? For had he been worthy, he would not have tasted death. If Adam was worthy, had not been disobedient and all that, and eaten from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, it don't matter that Eve gave it to him. It doesn't matter that Eve ate from it. He still should have not eaten from it. When I was Christian, I wrote a poem called "Adam Was a Punk." I wish I can find that poem, but it was called "Adam Was a Punk." When I tell you some of them old biddies in the church was mad at me when they when I first started that poem, they would look, "Oh, you them faces." But I was like, "Adam was a punk" by Renz. Adam was a punk. I wouldn't say because Adam was a punk because okay, it doesn't matter that Eve ate from the tree. You should have been. You supposed to be the man. You supposed to be the leader. You supposed to be all in charge. Was her poom poom so good that you ate from the tree as well? And I used to give Adam the excuse and say that, well, she knew the difference between good and evil. So at this time frame, she know how to lie and beguile just like the serpent, so that she was able to trick Adam. I used to try to give him a pass like that. But at the end of the day, now you're a punk, dude. You should have been like, Eve came up, ooh, Adam, I ate this tree. The serpent was right. I did not die. Even from touching it, I didn't die. I ate it. I didn't die. God lied to us, Adam. Look, eat this fruit. Look at woman. I don't know what that dude told you. That serpent told you. But I know what the man who created me told me. And that's a good and evil tree. I may not understand everything what that means. But come on here, woman. We got to go talk to, Big G, and we got to figure this out. I ain't gonna eat from it, but we finna go figure this out. That ain't what he did. Hey, G, the woman you gave me, she not ate from the tree. I ain't eating none. But somehow we got to fix this situation. So, like, what we need to do because you ain't gave us no process for this. I don't know. Still probably would have had first sacrifice because this bloodlusting deity loves his blood cult mentality. But what we gonna do? You Big G. She ate from it. I didn't. Fix it. That's how it should have went. If Adam was a leader, if Adam was worthy, that's how it should have went. But he was a punk. Hey Adam, I ate from this tree. You better eat from this tree. You want some more of this now? Adam probably like, I know I'm supposed to not eat from that tree. Damn, she fine. God told me not to eat from this tree. That pom pom good. Tree, pom pom, tree, pom pom. The pom pom is undefeated. Boom. Adam was a punk. He was a punk. So he was not worthy. He tasted death. Because you've got to remember, according to these stories, they believe that the tree of life was also in the garden. So, their bodies wasn't made to live forever. So they had to consistently eat from this tree of life. Otherwise, why is it even there? But it says that hey, we gotta kick them out the garden so that they can no longer consume from the tree of life. Otherwise, they would live forever. So the bodies wasn't made to live forever, but he would have never tasted death because if he would have been worthy, then he would have always been in the garden and he'd been good to go. So, you know, he said you definitely. Oh, I'm just saying that's how I just see that story going. That's. I mean, when I used to do teen church, when I was pastoring over teen church. Correction, when I was deaconing over teen church. I'm gonna get that title myself. I remember we acted. I was acting that out, and the teenagers were laughing their ass off. They was like, "This dude crazy." But nah, I mean, I'm just saying. That's how I see it. Adam was a punk, but he wasn't worthy. He would have never tasted death. According to this story, if he wasn't such a punk, he would have never tasted death, and therefore, by not taking, by always remaining obedient, he would have been good to go. Now you can take this as this Jesus saying that, hey, you have to be obedient to the God, to all these laws, and you will never taste death, in order for you to do it. But remember what it said in the very first. It was the first one. Yeah, it was the very first one. The very first saying says something about for those who understand this, you will never taste death. For those who come to understanding these sayings, you will never taste death. That's the first one that it says. See, I gotta connect that crap. Never thought about it that way, but you're right. Of course I'm right, Debbie. Of course. When am I ever wrong, Debbie? No, I'm wrong sometimes. But yeah, how old was I when I wrote that damn poem? I think I was like, ooh, I was about 25 when I wrote that. I'm sure it's somewhere. It's somewhere, probably in all my little boxes in the garage. I mean, in the basement. It's somewhere down there. Maybe. Um, where we at? Oh yeah. Oh, and as far as Adam comes from great power and great wealth, that's coming from the all of your soul, your car. Yeshua said, "Foxes have their dens and birds have their nests, but human beings have no place to lie down and rest." Right. So basically, these animals, I don't really get this one, like what you're trying to say. I know in the regular canon, it it's a little bit different. It talks about foxes have their dens, birds have their nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head or some shit like that, or no place he can call home. But so it can be in reference to that same thought process. But humans have no place to lie down and rest. We build houses, bro. We make beds. Now, if I took that on a more esoteric mindset, and then I would be separating, saying foxes and birds, they make their homes here on Earth, but we do not have a home here on Earth. Our home is beyond this plane of existence. That's about the only esoteric thought process I can take from this. I don't see any other esoteric thought process on that. But the mere fact that and after I mean that we have no the Earth ain't home, but that would have to mean that how some people say animals have souls. And they say this because when you look at Revelations and things of that nature, there's lions and lambs and shit like that up in heaven, according to Revelations. So you can't be a soulless being in the heavens. So if this is if my esoteric thought process is right on this one, then animals ain't got souls because their place is here. This is their heaven. This is it for them. And I don't accept reincarnation into a fox, into a bird. Your consciousness is way too complex to be in that. That goes back into how the all can never not know it's the all. Well, if the all can never not know it's the all, you can never not know you are of a higher consciousness. Like you can never not know the ability to reason. Foxes and birds don't have the same level of reasoning that we have, right? So you love my TikTok reel about Adam and Eve story about how it wasn't all Eve. Adam was weak for the poom poom. Oh, I already did that on TikTok. So he's influenced by. Ah, I didn't realize I did that. I done so many damn videos. I don't even be realizing what I've done. Cool, cool, cool. I appreciate that. Uh, I have to read that whole thing later. I don't want to. I try not to read the real long ones always because it kind of slows down the live. But I read that whole thing later and after I finish. Where we at? Shoot, we moving along pretty good. Let's see if we did 20 in a day. If we did 10. No, we've done 20. It's 114. So okay, let's do a few more so that we can finish this next week. So where am I? 87. Yeshua said, "How miserable is the body that depends on a body, and how miserable is the soul that depends on these two." Oh, oh, oh. Sounds like some of the other ones that we talked about before, right? About how the body came into existence. If the body came into existence because of the soul, then that's a marvel. But if the soul came into existence because of the body, that's a marvel of marvel. That if you don't bring out that which is within you, then you will be the poverty. The body is the poverty, and you will be that poverty unless you bring that which is in you out. This is somewhat in that same vein. How miserable is the body that depends on a body? You know, the body depending on a body. Remember, we talked earlier about the earth, the world being a body. Right. So our body is miserable because it depends on this body. Give you a scientific example. And I'm gonna check because I wonder if this is what's going on. We had decently kind of moderate weeks last couple of weeks, but this week is back to hot as hell right here in Atlanta. It's supposed to be like 99 degrees on Saturday. When there are higher levels of sunspots and flares, it messes up the Earth's mess up our little atmosphere, and it's hot. It's be blazing hot, right? That body affects this body because we're dependent on that body, right? And everything we do, we depend on the earth, which amazes me. All right, I'm not saying everybody needs to stop eating meat. Everybody needs to stop eating fish. Stop eating flesh. You put in flesh, but we are consuming flesh to a degree that we're destroying this body, and our body is dependent on this body. It's a miserable situation if you really look at it, you know. And I'm not that, and that's why I don't say we all should just stop because I'm not perfect at it. I'm not gonna stop completely, and that's unrealistic to think that everybody's just gonna stop. But we're destroying the body that our body is dependent on. It's a miserable type of situation, right? And if your soul is dependent on those, it's a whole level, another level. So, in what situation is your soul dependent on these two? Oh, in order for me to believe in this deity, I have flat earth because I'm dependent upon this body for my soul. Not only am I dependent upon this flat earth, but I'm dependent upon this Jesus character and this Abraham character. I'm dependent upon the validity that the flood happened. I'm dependent on both of these bodies in order for my soul. That's so messed up. That's you few 10 minutes ago talking about earthly attachments. You got to be able to release your earthly attachments, right? This earth, it doesn't matter. We should take care of it, sure. But my inner knowledge, my inner light is not dependent upon whether or not we take care of this earth or not. That's why I do agree with the part of the Bible that says it's not what goes inside the mouth that defiles the body, but what comes out. What comes out is usually your thoughts, your true thoughts. What your true thoughts is really what you literally think and believe. Your what you manifest mentally is your mentality. That's what defiles you. Is your mentality defiles you, because if your mentality is dependent upon these two bodies, whether both or individually, your soul is, is in a miserable state of being. Your consciousness is in a miserable state of being. Your consciousness is based on politics. Oh, I'm a Republican because we following the Bible, and them liberals ain't following no Bible. But I'm a liberal Democrat, and the Lord said that we gotta get these Republicans out of office. Both of them claim the same book, blame the other person. Oh, they for the abortion, they for the anti-abortion, they for the pronouns, they not for the pronouns. You know, all this stuff. Oh, the marriage, you can't marry. You know, no gay marriage, no polygamy, man and a woman, all this stuff. You know, we got to save America. Both of them trying to save America based on the same damn book. And the mere fact that the matter form of a book defines how their consciousness exists. A book that also says that the that what the laws of God are written on the hearts of men, or the understanding of God is written on the hearts of men. If if that book don't jive here, then that book ain't written. That book ain't written by the divine source. Because if you don't bring forth, you see how I'm putting them together. If you don't bring that within beside you, because that's the only thing that can save you, then you die. You die. And a conscious death is your ass coming back here and repeating all this because you ain't figured out shit. You see what I'm saying? Can you see what I'm saying? Let me move on. Let me move on, because I can work that one all day. That one right there. 87 is another one of them good ones. It's another good one. Especially when you've read the other ones, when you've read this thing and you've taken the ones that actually like make sense and fit and gets raises your consciousness. Because a lot of them, some of them, they don't, all of them don't raise your consciousness, as we've been through, but some of them do. Some of them gives you some good juju to raise it. That's right, we save ourselves. 88. The messengers and the prophets will come to you and give you what belongs to you. You in turn give them what you have, and say to yourselves, when will they come and take what belongs to them? Let me read that again. I don't know why I read that, but you ever read something but you don't hear it yourself? Because that was one that I definitely read and didn't hear myself. Yeshua said, the messengers and the prophets will come to you and give you what belongs to you. In turn, give them what you have, and say to yourselves, when will they come and take what belongs to them? So all these messengers is basically saying all these prophets and they came to give to you what belongs to you, give you your conscience, your connection to the kingdom, your passageway to the kingdom. In turn, you give to them what you have and say to yourself, so you give to them what you have. This is what I know. This is what belongs, But then it says, when will they come and take what belongs to them? So this one, it really don't hit nothing for me. Like it doesn't fully make sense to me. When will they come and take what belongs to them? You're going to be sitting there worried about when they're going to come and I gave you what I have, and when are you going to come and take what belongs to them? Well, they gave me what belongs to me, and they're going to come and take what belongs to them. I have no idea what the hell is he trying to get it. I don't know what he's trying to get across on this one. So y'all have to try to, y'all can help me out on that one because I don't know. It doesn't jive at all. The messengers and the prophets will come to you and give you what belongs to you. Okay, get that part. In turn, you give them what you have. Get that part, and say to yourselves, "Don't know why. When will they come and take what belongs to them? What are they taking that belongs to them? I don't know." I'm gonna need y'all to help me on that one. And I'm waiting. See if anybody got something. Don't be shy. Don't worry about if you're right, wrong, or if it makes sense, don't make sense. You got to be willing to just throw yourself out there. I just threw myself out there. I'm supposed to be teaching y'all this thing. I'm supposed to be giving y'all my interpretation, but I have yet to ever come up with a good idea of what the hell this one is talking about. And after a certain amount of time back in the day, I just said, oh, well. I always thought that, hey, I'll read it again another time and then it'll pop. But still haven't popped. 88 has no pop for me. And I mean pop in its totality. Now, I've read some Christian translations of this one, and in the Christian translations of this one, they will say that the part of when they will come and take what belongs to them, that he's talking about the rapture. And I'm like, hold on, he ain't talking about no damn rapture. I didn't. The rapture doesn't happen. There is no rapture, so I couldn't get jive with that one. So I've heard some Christian interpretations of that say that that last line is talking about the rapture. Oh shit! What is that? That was 706. I think I know who that is. Okay, I'll call them back. Anybody? Anyone? Nope, no one. Okay, well, we're gonna do this last one, and then we'll just have open discussion until about 1:30. Uh, because I want to stop at 90, and then we'll do 90 to 114 next. Yeah, next week we can get all that done. Yeshua said, "Why do you wash the?" Oh, 89. Yeshua said, "Why do you wash the outside of the cup? Don't you understand that the one who made the inside is also the one who made the outside?" Tell me that he didn't study Buddhism. I mean, since Buddhism came around 500 years before Jesus ever came around, and we know that there were Buddhist monks that was working at the, the, the the Roman rock quarry outside of Nazareth, that there were Buddhists that was trading in Kemet. Tell me he ain't learned nothing from no Buddhists, because this sound Buddhist as hell. This sounds very Buddhist. Why do you wash the outside of the cup? Don't you understand that the one who made the inside also is the one who made the outside? It's a good Buddhist saying right now. Most of y'all, most people have heard the Buddhist saying of, and you got to empty the cup in order for you to pour in some new stuff. We talked about that when he talked about the old wine, old wine cross, new wine sackcloth. But most people don't know this Buddhist understanding. This is another Buddhist understanding uh, of you're just washing the outside of the cup, because that's all that you're making presentable what people see, right? But what's inside the cup is also what people see. What's inside the cup is what people drink from. Let's put it in our modern day thought process, right? If I showed up at your house and you are pulling a cup out your cupboard and I see the outside of the cup, thank you, Donald, I appreciate that. I see the outside of the cup. I think the cup is clean, but then you put the cup in front of me and then come over there and you know you're gonna have to pour me some coffee. You get ready to pour me some coffee, and especially let's say you got some good Ethiopian coffee or some Sumatra coffee. You getting ready to pour me some coffee, and I see that this cup ain't been clean on the inside. I don't give a damn if you got the best coffee in the world. I ain't drinking that shit. As much as you clean the outside, you have to clean the inside because the same consciousness, the same complexity, the same divine spirit that is on the outside is also on the inside. It is all one. It is a oneness, a statement of oneness. Oh yeah, he did. He definitely had to, if this joke existed. But the writers of this knew of the Buddhist thought process. Those two worlds, those civilizations have been connected for over 1,000 years. They definitely knew of each other, right? Give me a second on that question, Marcus, because this is the last one that we're doing of this one. But they had to. They were definitely connected. They definitely knew each other. Their philosophies, their books. You know, the Library of Alexandria was still available during these time frame, and we know that Ptolemy purposely any book that came into Alexandria, they made a copy of it. It was like a great center of learning. The Babylonians, they had full ziggurats. That yes, that fly is still flying around here for whoever asked me about that earlier. Uh, it just flew in my face. The under Sargon the second, they began having these ziggurats that were dedicated to just learning in the Babylonian culture. And the Persians continued that, well, sorry, he wasn't Babylonian, but you know what I'm saying. But that was a thing that they kept doing through all the Levant, learning, gathering information. So them being with the Buddhists, they definitely knew. I'm gonna get you. Come on, land, little punk. But this is a Buddhist teaching, beautiful one. We can look at this on a physical level. I told you guys when I was a personal trainer and life coach, I would tell my clients, if you can control your body, then you can control your life. The things you have to go through to be able to change your health, if you can have that kind of discipline about yourself, that steadfastness, the willingness to learn and to be taught and to be led, to grow into your own leadership of self. Because the way I would take my clients through personal training, it was all mental. If I couldn't get you in the mental, then I know the physical was not going to follow. If I couldn't get you into the mental, then I knew that even if you did the physical, you're only going to do it as long as you're around me. And I don't want to be your personal trainer for life. I want you to get this to the point where you can do this on your own, right? I don't want to train you for 5 years. No, that's boring. You know, get you in 1 year, 2 year. After 2 years, you need to not need me anymore. Like that was my process. So I had to get the inside so that we can get the outside. Same thing here. You got to get that inside before you get the outside. The outside can look good. Oh, you hooping, you're hollering, you're preaching, you're saying stuff. You read. I've read 300 books on spirituality. Okay, and of those 300 books, what did you implement? What did you implement that worked? What did you implement that didn't work? What raised your consciousness? Did you open your chakras? Did you raise your kundalini? What did the hell did you do? Did you do something? What change happened? Because it's all one. It's a full oneness. The outside is not separate from the inside. The consciousness is not a separate thing. So yeah. So we're gonna stop right there on Gospel Thomas. Next week we will continue with Gospel Thomas. starting at 90, and we're gonna finish it next week. So after that, I have in mind what book I want to do, but I want to know what you guys want to do. What book you may have in mind. I know what one I got in mind. So let me see. Let's see what other crazy questions that we're gonna talk about for the next 30 minutes or so. What are your thoughts on AI tools like Chat GPT and Google Bard? I have no idea what those are. I know there's a whole bunch of talk about AIs right now, but I am not as up to par on them. I know I hear what the guys come in here and talking about with AI. So it's a conversational generative artificial intelligent chatbot. Oh shit. So what does it do though? What is Bard? Bard is basically an AI chatbot developed by Google. It is based on Google's large language, similar to how it is based on GPT. Um, these are these are types of neural networks that mimic the underlying architecture of the brain in the form of a computer. Hmm. All right, Terminator coming. Don't messing around. I don't know. I have to research more about that. We've talked about that. Sounds like some of the things we talked about in here, where we were talking about, they creating all these AIs, these lifelike, human-like looking robotics, and are they going to replace us? We don't have the whole, um, you know, war against them. Uh, I don't know. I'm telling you, I haven't really given a lot of thought to those yet. But I do think it's a dangerous thing. There have to be safeguards put in place. Hopefully, there are safeguards put in place that will prevent AI from actually being able to take over. Nothing like a good old electromagnetic pulse, though. All right. No, the rapture isn't what they think it is. The rapture, it isn't people disappearing to join Jesus in the clouds to come fight in the last battle. It's about a new start, getting a fresh start, and getting your shit straight. Forget the Christian rapture. It makes me laugh when I agree with you, and then I disagree with you a little bit on that one, Jeremy. Um, because when they talked about meeting Jesus up in the clouds, it was a metaphor to like how back in those days when a Roman general would come to town, then whoever the governor or the magistrates would have to go and meet that general outside of the city walls and then escort them back in. So they were literally talking about going up into the clouds, the ability to fly, meeting Jesus, and then escorting Jesus down, down into the to earth, and for him to then start establishing his kingdom. In the same way with Islam, um, Muhammad is supposed to descend down, and then there's a ladder that's going to be put in place for him to finish his descent. So it's going back to that old world motif of you have to send an emissary or something has to guide them the rest of the way, so that one, they come in with respect, two, they come in with safety as well, and they're not an occupying army. But you're right as far as that but I do agree that whole rapture thing is bullshit. There ain't gonna be no fighting of Armageddon all and all that stuff. But I would say a true rapture will be a rapture of your mind when you change your way of thinking, when you uh, increase your consciousness. That would be a true rapturing of your mind, a separation uh, from the understanding that you've always been given, this understanding of the majority of the world and the troglodytes. That would be a rapture. I think of I think of why are my eyes not working? I think of it as a newer tool to help us. If you abuse it, it can. If you abuse it, it can be bad. Evil people have evil intentions. Yeah, everything tool, and most things are just tools. We choose whether or not we're going to use it well or not. Oh, so that is what you meant by going out and greeting. Okay, my bad. Marcus said, I think there's a good and bad with these types of tools. Some of these tools could make us do things faster and better, like conducting emails or letters by just asking the AI to do it. Yeah, I mean, that would be somebody think, look, there are some tools. Everything is a tool. Like, I can't wait for the mech suit, like a better looking, easy to wear, disguisable mech suit. I'm 51. By the time I'm 80, that's 30 years. The mech suit technology and price points on them should be well enough where underneath my clothing, I can have on a jumpsuit that's a mech suit. And I'm 80 years old, but I'm lifting 400-pound boxes. You know what I'm saying? Great stuff like that. Some of that neuro shit that they putting in and it attaches and gets into your brain. I understand for a person who's been paralyzed their whole life, it's great. It's great for them. They can move, they can get up. Or the ones who've been kind of like, and they can think and they can write, who can't even talk and they can like now do work a computer. That's great. I ain't really ready for you to try to neural link my brain. And I think, I don't know if it's Elon Musk or the Facebook boy. I think it's Elon Musk who's trying to do the neural link thing with brain. Okay, YouTube. What's the last thing you heard me say? So I was talking about the neural link thing. You should be able to hear me now. What's the last thing I said, YouTube? What's the last thing you heard me say, YouTube? Um, but in that movie Kingsman, when Samuel Jackson's character emitted that frequency and it had everybody killing each other, imagine if you allow that Joker to put that neural link in everybody's head, right? Everybody got the neural link. What if somebody hacked it and made everybody fight to kill each other? What if the government hacked used it to make everybody kill each other? You see what I'm saying? They could turn you into slaves and you will be the most docile, willing slave. That Neuralink, we're not doing that. Bruce Willis movie Sentinel. I haven't seen that one. But imagine that shit. That's why that Neuralink new. That wouldn't work for me. I wouldn't do it. Neuralink, when they use that so that it reconnects so a person can walk again, but it's not connected to any kind of, it's the hacking. Because if somebody can hack it and they can force you to do whatever, never get me to do that one. I think it's Elon Musk with the Neuralink. Right. It's one of those things where I'm just gonna have to die. I'm just gonna have to die. We can save you, Renz. If we Neuralink you, we can. Nope. What's the other thing? Metaverse. Have y'all seen the series Upload? It's a series called Upload. It's been 2 seasons so far. The concept of it, I forgot what program it's on. I don't remember if it's Netflix or Prime. It's on one of them. I think it's Prime. But and it's a Prime. It is Prime because it's Prime. It's a Prime original show. Basically, right before you die or before you go brain dead, they can upload your brain into pretty much the metaverse, and your family continuously pay for you to be able to live there. And depending upon how much money you got every month, you have certain amounts of data, and you can buy stuff, do stuff, all this kind of thing, right? But the problem is, if ain't nobody paying for it, it is Elon Musk. Okay, if nobody's paying for it, you get broke, you poor, you living in like this horrible little gray space. That's the only reason I would find that appealing is if cloning hasn't been perfected where you can transfer your mind like they did on 6 Day from one consciousness, one body to another body. Okay, you're holding me kind of in stasis until you can transfer my mind. But I'd rather be cryogenically frozen um, while I still got brain activity, and then bring me back when you cure whatever the disease is, or you can transfer my brain, my consciousness into a whole new body. You know, I rather go because even the uplink thing has a where somebody else is controlling this thing, where somebody else is controlling it. But that's a hard road to go. Hmm. Now, me and Angelina went to the movies last night, and one of the previews was for a new movie coming out called Creators. Um, and in that movie is basically the AI robots. We're fighting a war against the AI robots. At first, when it first came on, I was like, "Oh, this must be iRobot Part 2," because the robots look similar. Where they kind of look like similarity between the Clone War robots and iRobot robots, and they were fighting a war against them. And then it's this child that look half human, half mechanical, and that's the key to saving the world. Whoever gets this child will win the war and all this stuff. I'm sure at the end they'll be brokering some peace between the robots and the humans because this child is the best of both worlds or some shit like that. But gotta be careful with this AI stuff. That's right. I'm with you too. That's right, Jeremy. Just gotta be careful. Would a one world government be a bad thing? For Christians, I'm sorry, CarSpa. I'm sorry. Only because Christians was deemed it the Antichrist, the end of the world. We have to listen to all that rhetoric about it being the end of the world. But in all honesty, I think a one world government would be the best thing for this planet. It would. If you have a one world government, not that it will stop all violence, but it will stop war. There's a difference between uprisings and war. And only people who've never been in any kind of combat cannot understand the difference. There's a difference between your neighborhood gang stuff or even some of these rebel uprisings, than war. I think that a one world government would be awesome because although it'd be very difficult to do, but we eliminate nationalism. Now, people are still going to separate themselves by certain aspects of tribal or regions and that sort of thing. But we get rid of warfare. No country is trying to conquer another country for their resources. It brings a higher level of equality throughout the world because now France ain't trying to jack up all the former French African colonies like they've been doing and like they still trying to do. I'm glad the African colonies are like, to hell with you, France. There is no Brexit thing that we're having to deal with where they're trying to where they want to devalue the dollar. It's all the same. Doesn't matter. Resources will flow easier. I believe that resources will flow easier uh, when you have that. Yeah, I think one world government is great. I think it'll be amazing if we can have one world government. And I would be so ready to laugh at all. I actually kind of want to see it because then when the world don't end and all them other things of Revelation don't happen, I really wonder what the Christians gonna say about that. Oh, you got to go, Jeremy. Appreciate you for being here, my guy. So that is Elon Musk with Starlink. He'll be able to those neural links. No, right? They can shut you down. I ain't doing that. Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, I can be, but somewhat of a smart ass. What is my opinion on about the aliens? Uh, if the aliens are here, and I'm talking about aliens from another world, not aliens from another time frame, because I do think that there was post Younger Dry civilization that existed that was more advanced than what we are today, and those are the ones that like the Anunnakis and the Sky People and all of them. That's who those people are. But if alien from another planet, I think if they came to Earth, I think they've come to Earth. I do think that aliens have come to Earth to observe, and when they observe, they are like they ain't ready. They not ready. Um, we can't have them joining the Galactic Alliance. They can't even fix their own problems. I think last week I said something about how if you was observing the Earth and not being, if you was observing the Earth and you would look and say, wait a minute, they've created enough bombs pointed at each other, not pointing outward, looking to fight any adversary that could come from space, but they got enough bombs pointed at each other that they can destroy the Earth multiple times over. That's stupid. They're too warlike. They're too selfish. No, we ain't getting down with them. If you were benevolent, little aliens looking at the Earth, I wouldn't want to help. I wouldn't want to help the Earth. I'd be like, nah, y'all stupid. I'm not helping y'all. Y'all not worthy. Now, if you the malevolent aliens, and you like, yeah, we're gonna go down there and kill them. I then would still say, they got a whole bunch of missiles pointing at each other to kill each other. And if they're willing to kill each other and blow up the planet, they'll probably push them buttons to blow us up too. So unless we can got a methodology of shutting down all the nuclear arsenal on the planet from our alien craft, I still ain't coming down here. Yeah, because it's like, look at them. They're killing the ocean. They're killing the atmosphere. They're not smart enough to join the Galactic Alliance. Starfleet would not accept them. I'm gonna get that dude as soon as I get up. Well, if Angelina was here, she'd already got him. She's like the fly whisperer, well, the fly murderer. She's a murderer. She's a murderer. So that's why Jesus ain't coming. What's my guy Dark Matter? On one of his videos, he had Jesus like, I ain't going back down there. You see what they did to me first time? Can't imagine what they'll do this time. Mm-mm. Jesus definitely ain't coming back. The whole alien disclosure. Wait a minute. It seems like wait. It seems like they are trying to go to war with the aliens. Let's stop watching Independence Day. You know, well, I don't want the aliens come down here fighting. Independence Day is a movie for a reason. The whole alien disclosure BS is the reason I adopted the duck face. Oh, oh, you like the Power Corrupt series from Dark Matter? Yeah, I like those too. But yeah, that alien disclosure thing, I think that is actually prepping us for. Is part of the preparation for us to understand that there are previous civilizations that have been here before, um, that was here before us, and I think that will be revealed before aliens from another planet will be revealed. Because aliens from another planet, you can't get here. I mean, you can get here traveling through space regularly. You got to have serious above faster than light speed and some type of shielding to protect you from the friction of space in order to travel at those speeds. Got to have some serious ass metal that dispenses heat, some type of shielding that protects you from. It ain't even the big meteorites; it's the micro meteorites um, that'll tear you up. Imagine if you was in a car traveling at, you know 20,000 miles per hour. Man, the impact of a dragonfly on your car, your car gonna get disintegrated. It's like a real life Transformer movie. Yeah. Oh, the Pentagon released three UFO clips. I haven't seen those. I saw that little, unless those are the ones that I haven't seen those. Oh yeah, if they'll do what the lady in Prometheus did, as far as the Christian trying to explain aliens. Okay, well, if they created us, then who created them? They'll keep going. Well, God still created them. Wouldn't there be less freedom for people, and power would be concentrated to the select few, the elite powers that be? Are you talking about if there was one world order? Is that not how the world is already today? You're always going to have that. That will always be. Um, you're never going to change that aspect of it. There is not a time where power wasn't concentrated. Even if you go back to the time of hunter gatherer, the strongest hunter concentrated power. The strongest hunters concentrated power amongst them. There was just fewer people, but that's that's a reality of this existence. There will always be that. You think it's interdimensional traveling? Yeah, I mean, and that's the only way you'll have to be able to fold space or travel interdimensionally in order to cross these vast spaces of time. But interdimensionally, of course, you're coming from outside of time. Yeah, the journey's over as soon as it begins. Yeah, but if you're still traveling, you still have to make the travel. Skybox, you late. Well, that we theorize that it's instantaneous. We don't know until we do it. Oh yeah, sure do. Want to upload my body to another body? Well, that's the theory of That's one of the theories of traveling faster than the speed of light. You got to actually do it to see which theory actually comes out to be correct. Yes. Look, man, I'm 51. I've been through the Marine Corps, been through some combat situations, played sports all my life. Got a lot of damage on this. This one, the warranty is about to wear out. Then I'm gonna be after warranty. When you after warranty, you never know what might happen to you. You all kind of shit break down. When the warranty go out, all kind of stuff just start breaking down. So yeah, probably within 30 years, when I'm 80, I don't want to. I'm not one. I don't plan on walking around like an 80-year-old. I don't plan on doing that. The average 80-year-old man. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna be even if I still got this body, I'm gonna be walking around pretty good. But when I start clicking 90, 100, I want a 30-year-old body. I want to run, jump, fall off shit, and be good. Upload your spirit into an orca. Why? So you can kill animals. Be flipping them polos. The orcas are mean. Man said Christ came back. Do you think that he want to see all these people walk around with crosses on their neck? And they'll believe it. They'd be like, why y'all got the damn worst part of my existence on this earth? Y'all wearing that around y'all neck. If Jesus did come back, he might think all the people who wearing the cross was his enemy. Like, hold on, y'all wearing the instrument of my death around y'all neck. Y'all must be my enemy. Sea otters is where it's at. Um, I'm sorry. I'm laughing because he said sea otters around my neck. So I guess it was about a month ago. Me and then we went on a double date to the Georgia Aquarium, and when we got to the sea otter, there's one sea otter. I know that he was cleaning his ping ping, but it looked like he was masturbating. It was funny as shit. He was going to town on it. Jehovah Witnesses don't wear crosses. Yeah, they don't. This is true. Wearing a cross actually is idolatry. Oh, oh man, y'all funny. Yeah, that little joker, and then yeah, he was masturbating. I don't care what you say. I know the little girl that told us that he was cleaning himself, and they spend like 80% of their time grooming and stuff. But he was wearing that thing out, and he was just floating on his back, chilling. Just love the animals, love the animals. But nah, I want to know a whole nother body. It's going to be our special units like the Navy SEALs. We're going to have an AA Orca unit. Man, I ain't messing with them orcas. Who's that? I don't know if that's one of mine or one of hers. There's a new nail salon that just opened next door to me. Mm-mm. That would be interesting. Jesus comes back. See a whole bunch of people wearing crosses. Those were the instrument. I mean, theoretically, he should have known everything that's been going on the planet. So he shouldn't have. But let's just say he didn't know what was going on the planet, and he just poofed back and see all these crosses. I would think those are the enemy. Or let's say Jesus is an alien, right? He was an alien. He left, came back, and now he see all these crosses. He be Like, oh hell no. My enemies have become 2.6 billion. Let's see. She is going. Oh no. Hey. Looking for you. Looking for me. What you want me for? I closed popcorn shop back in April. So you ain't been looking hard.
Yeah, you ought to see my phone. I don't been Googling, trying to find out your last name. I remember seeing from there. Yeah, I mean, I don't listen to your podcast to see if it's got a new number. All the numbers I've been emailing.
What's your name? Oh, I just talked so bad about you a few minutes ago.
Why?
Cause I was like, why? Cause you asked me what the address, and I was like, it's on the website.
None of those numbers work.
Cause I shut it down.
Even for this number.
Yeah, I shut it down. I don't use it.
So how do you expect people to get in contact with you?
Because they come over. They come over. They talk to me online. But
you need to put up on your Facebook, on your Instagram, permanently closed, because it still got you showing open.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you slide. I retract and I apologize for talking trash about you earlier.
Yeah.
Because
it's all over social media today.
I did. It is. Instagram does not say that it's closed. Instagram, Facebook doesn't say it's closed.
It's got your hours open now, Sunday through Thursday. Then on another one, it's got Wednesday through Saturday. I said, Lord,
Closed back in April. So you can't see me since prior to April.
One of my friends came and she posted hers on
She posted it when? Well, she. That was back in April. That could have been this one day. But yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, they're closed. Don't nobody want to work. Everybody want to work for more than $20 an hour, and I can't work both of them. I have to choose.
Right.
And that's not good for my body.
You couldn't have just did it like on the weekend.
The weekend ain't gonna pay rent.
Okay.
Ain't gonna pay rent. Ain't no money in there.
Is there anybody else that's similar?
Well, there's nobody that's as good as me. The only similar to mine.
Because the others, they did have one on top of some Christmas, but they're already gone.
Yeah, the lady in Conyers is decent. It's out at, you know where that Carmike Theater is? You know where Coles? Mm-hmm. She's over there by Coles. Like Coles is right here. She's in the corner right there. I've heard that I've never had her, so I can't actually say. Okay. Just going by what other people say. But I've heard other people say that hers, that they like hers too. Of course, Miss D down at Auburn, at the Auburn Market. A lot of hers is spicy.
Yeah, I've had hers don't stay much. Even in the bag, hers doesn't. It's not long lasting.
I mean, ain't nobody like mine. I haven't trained anybody. I was supposed to train this one company, but that's all the way in Alabama. Mm-hmm. I did train them a little bit, but they're in Alabama.
Are you doing like any?
I ain't doing nothing with popcorn.
No.
Nothing. The next time I do popcorn again, it's going to have to be prime location, fully staffed, and I know I'm gonna have to pay these people $15 to $20 an hour. Mm-hmm. So that's why I have to be prime location. Mm-hmm. So it might be 2 years before I do popcorn again. Oh, wow. Yeah. And that's why I kept the name and kept all the pages. And that's because I'll probably go back into it in about a year or two.
Well,
Closer to 2 years, though. Like,
yeah, definitely updated.
I'll update it.
Because you'll have people driving here. And
I hadn't had anybody for a while. That's why when you sent the message, I assumed you was talking about the cigar lounge because the way all my websites are set up, it won't let me designate separate emails for the messages to come to. It forces me to do one, which is why I need to change my hosting site so that each site can send emails based on that site, so I know what the heck the person is talking about. But yours was so general, I didn't know which one it was, so I assumed it was here. So I was talking trash about you.
I even went in LinkedIn, requested friend connection, so I can because I have been craving it. I even went to Carmichael's and bought some popcorn. So, but I live in Congress, so I'll try that.
Yeah, try that. I mean, it's a nice. I do like the people who own it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I met them a couple times. They're nice people. It's a black lady, and I've heard some good things.
Name of?
It's popping. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't be mad at me. I'm sorry. Don't be mad at me.
Came from Panola Road. I mean, I was just Googling everything. Then I think your cashier, her name came up in LinkedIn, but she didn't have a number.
Right.
I mean, I was trying every way to get a contact number. I said, well, maybe I can go on the True Finder with larenzoreid Marietta, but it kept bringing up some white man.
Yeah, you probably spelled my name wrong anyway.
I put LA. I didn't
Okay.
put LO.
Yeah, you did LA.
Yeah.
I don't
did
know.
LA, and I listened to your podcast to see if you gave your whole name, then I would know how to put a D for Dwayne or L for Larry.
Don't be saying the middle name too loud. I'm on live podcast right now. Yeah. I don't even know my middle name.
I'm telling you, I've been sitting in public parking lots searching, Googling, and I just said, Lord, I'm just chill.
Sound a little stalkerish. I just
No, when I want something.
You stocking the popcorn. I get
Damn
you.
right.
I got you.
That's how you want to do it. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Let's see what y'all. I'm sorry about that. Well, I ain't sorry about it. This first came. Oh shit! I just did something. My bad. I did not mean to do whatever I just did. I deleted somebody's message by accident. I hope I didn't cancel the person. I pressed the button on here and it did something I didn't mean for it to do. I ain't leave y'all in limbo. Somebody came here. It is some amazing popcorn. I got to get it into a better location. Skybox, I think I messed something up on your. Skybox, say something. I don't know if I deleted you by accident. What's the difference between the government allowing the government to upload your consciousness to another body and allowing it to be uploaded to Neuralink? Unless you control the process, your body would be controlled. No, that's what I was saying. That even as far as them uploading your consciousness to another body, I would have to. I mean, it'd be a lot of research, and I would have to know that they're not putting some bullshit in there. Hey, Pop Soul, don't be doing that. Don't be putting my middle name out there like that. Okay, so Skybox, we still good. All right. That's right. Don't be saying my whole government name on here. So since she not said it, yes, my middle name is Dwayne, Dewayne. I grew up being called Wayne my whole life. I cannot stand that name. So as soon as I left home in the military, I never introduced myself as that. I know. She was stalking that popcorn. That was the beauty of that business. That I had some very, very dedicated people. She was semi-dedicated. I mean, I closed in April. You just not coming over here. You just not looking for it again. You need a bigger, um, you need a bigger immediate audience. But that's a whole business conversation right there. John Wayne was a racist, the real John Wayne. I just don't like the. I do. I look like a Wayne. I do not look like my name should be Wayne. I, no, there's nothing about me that speaks to the name Wayne. Nothing against anybody else whose name is Wayne, but it does not fit me. I don't know what my parents were thinking, what my dad, because my mom didn't have nothing to do with it. I don't know what my dad was thinking at the naming convention of this child, and he named me Wayne. And then I have a cousin whose my name is Larenzo, it's Larenzo, L-A, Larenzo, and the Dwayne Reed. I got an older cousin whose name is Lorenzo, Dwayne Reed. Why would you do that? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. And when I asked him about it, he said, "Oh hell, I was drunk when I named you." Ah, look what Wayne Brady came out as a pansexual. See, you throwing jabs, you're throwing jabs. But that's why I ain't going with Wayne. Uh, try to get into some retailers. Did that. One, the research I'm doing to get it into retailers, you have to be able to put the FDA packaging information on the back of it. In order to send that off, you have to send it could cost you anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 just to get one. I carry 26 flavors. That's a lot of that's a lot. I did have an opportunity to get into a Walmart though. Um, to get into Walmart, do a test run in 13 locations of Walmart. When we first brokered the deal, I had to drop the price point, the size of the bag that they wanted. I would normally sell, let's just say caramel for $12. They wanted me to drop that to $5. Um, and then when we actually got ready to sign it, they wanted me to drop it to $3, where it would be sold, be retailed at $3. And there was no way in hell I was going to retail my popcorn at $3. I wasn't going to do it at 5. Not from, I normally retail it for 12 and then down. No. And then that would have made me Walmart's puppet because a store is not going to survive. A standalone store is not going to survive when you can go to Walmart and get it at those prices. And then that put me at the same price point as the cheap ass nasty popcorn they sell at Walmart. And I wasn't doing it. No. Volume be damned. And then I didn't have the equipment to make the volume because the dude was like, uh, if it just to fill the first order was like 3,000 bags, but he was saying you got to be prepared to replenish that 3,000 bags like every 3 to 10 days. And I was like, nah, bro, I'm not at, I don't have the capacity to do that at the time. But I appreciate the guy for being interested. Not checking into some other retailers, and I was in some gift shops and things of that nature that didn't require FDA labeling, which means that they mom and pop, and they were seasonal. It was okay, but it wasn't nothing that threw me over. You got to get, I needed like 100 of those in order for it to be successful. Later on, I'll get some investment money and I knock it back out. I open the shop up, but this time it'll be done in a prime location. I've been in these C-level locations here lately. Ever since my debacle of that public crap leaving and going through a divorce and paying all this money out, and then being in a messed up location, credit score going down, and then can't get into the prime location. To get into most of your prime locations, you got to have credit scores of 780 and above. Some of them will let you in at 720. Um, Even when I was at 714, some of the prime locations wouldn't let me into the prime location. So it's not as easy to get in there. And then some of those prime locations wanted you to already have a long history of like, well, we need you to also be 10 years in business somewhere else, or we need you to have five other locations, or we need you to demonstrate that those five locations have made at least a million a year. And some of these places they drive a hard bargain to get you to get in. So, but I'll make my comeback. I already have a good idea where I want to make my comeback at. It's a B level location. It's not an A level location, but a B level location to generate about $20,000 a month. 20,000 a month. I can pay employees. I can pay employees at the rate that's going now, and then uh, at that point, I won't need any of it for my own personal self, so it can grow, and then I can open up multiples and continue to grow it that way. But yeah, Tasha, you're very welcome. But I gotta figure out a way to get about $70,000 to open up another location. But right now, I'm working on this here, deciding, making some decisions here. And I can't do a popcorn shop. Physically, my body, my back can't take it. Lifting them 50 pounds and 30 pounds and standing on your feet for 8, 9 hours a day. Hell no. But anyway, well, it's about time to get off of here. I do greatly appreciate you guys. It is always a plum pleasing pleasure to entertain y'all. Hopefully, we all got some more education today, learn some more things. It's a good thing for me to be going back over the Gospel of Thomas because there are some things in that I have forgotten about. And look, I'm doing the Gospel of Thomas off the hip. I've been doing zero pre-studying and prepping for it. I didn't go read nobody else's information, go research somebody. I'm it clicks as I'm reading it. So I appreciate. We are all still in a learning position, and we'll always continue to learn. That's why I invite your comments to everyone each time we go through this. So next week we should be able to finish up on the Gospel of Thomas. In my mind, there's a couple of books that I have in mind to go through to continue this Thursday book club live. Um, but I do want to hear you guys' suggestions as to what books we can have book club Thursday on. Because after next Thursday, then the following Thursday will be a new book. So I appreciate you guys. For everybody who donated through cash um, on YouTube, stars on Facebook, and gifts on TikTok. I greatly, greatly appreciate you guys. There's a couple of reaction videos I'm going to do today because I found some funny shit for me. And those will get posted in a couple of just answering some people's questions or statements that people have made based on other videos that have come out today as well. So continue to share the channel. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. And I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great day. Remember, always you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration. And Jeremy, you crazy. Oh, most outrageous name I see you would be Tiberius. I would rather have been Tiberius. I would rather have been Tiberius than Wayne. But I'm glad. But I like Larenzo, so I'm good with Larenzo. I can rock Larenzo. So y'all have a great day. Press the buttons, press the buttons, press all the buttons.